I just remember reading this and being like, oh, I know a group of people who'd be really into this.
For a short moment, I was like, is Kima gonna take one for the team?
Honestly, slay. I also just love the descriptor like a stone hammer. I'm like, okay, that's... What is the situation here?
Stop, what if Simon ever sees this?
Why would he see this?
I don't know, because we're funny.
Quack.
Welcome to the Little Duck Book Club with Duck number 1,
Ren, and duck number 2,
Anna, and welcome to a new episode to our podcast. We're actually recording this in our little summer break. So if we are, bursting with energy and giggles, that's the reason why.
we're just having such a good time.
We are actually, like, genuinely, we are. And today we're going to talk about The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez. I hope I pronounced that correctly. We just looked it up.
We did.
We did. And God, what a palate cleanser after...
Oh, true. For you, this was like the first book right after ACOWAR, right?
Yeah, and I didn't take a huge break between ACOWAR and Spear. I was like, I'm gonna give myself 2 days, and then I'm just gonna directly go back in. Wow, what?
Yeah, no, I remember you immediately texted me and were like, "Wow, I forgot books could be good."
Which is like, honestly, yeah, no, that's the truth. This just. Before we even get into it, I fucking love this book so much. I don't know if it's a combination of I read it after ACOWAR. I read it during the summer depression seasonal phase, so I was like clinging onto something that was fun. But I think it's like 99% because it's genuinely just a good book. So,
I mean, I read 2 good books in between this and ACOWAR, and I would also say it's very good. And that means this is another one of those episodes where we tell you should probably go read this book first before listening to us, because, again, we're gonna spoil the shit out of it. We're not doing like a plot breakdown, but we will talk about enough stuff that happens that you're like, oh, okay, now I know everything, even if I know it out of order. So it is legitimately such a good read, and I think you should experience it for yourself.
Yeah.
First.
So we are sending you away again, unfortunately. Homework. But this is one of the most pleasant homeworks we've ever sent you on. We recently got a comment from a person saying that they read ACOTAR after they saw our video, and I don't know, I think we should apologize for that. I'm so sorry, because they DNF'd ACOMAF, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I feel bad.
You should have watched our video first where we tell you that it's much worse than the first one, and then you could have spared yourself the trouble.
Well, I think we were too slow. I think the person saw the ACOTAR videos in reading them and said, oh no, this is bad. So this time, you're gonna enjoy it, and I feel like this one especially, I feel with most of the other books we've talked about that we liked, you can kind of get away with getting a little spoiled, and with this one it's just
I don't know. I feel like this is still like a very interesting read, specifically also because of the stylistic choices.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I feel like okay, this is
just immediately don't be tempted. We are funny, but don't be tempted. Go off the video, get the book, read the book, come back.
It's just so fucking good.
This is gonna be us for an hour. It's like, this is just so good. We're not saying why we like it.
It's not even gonna be spoilers. We're just like back and forth, like, wow, this was really good. Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, this was really good. Mm-hmm.
It was so good. That one time. Good. Oh yeah. So I think.
But no.
What sweetened the deal for this book for me in general, like for the whole reading experience, was that this was not a book that at least I knew before. We went to the LBM, the Leipzig Book Fair, and we just walked around, browsing, and we saw this book. I was like, the cover is gorgeous. Liked it, turned it around, was like, oh yeah, the blurb sounds kind of interesting. And then we both went, just let's just buy it. Let's just read it for the podcast. And to have such a stroke of luck to be like, oh yeah, this random pretty book, and it's actually that good.
It's like legitimately.
It's
I did
so
not
good,
expect
bro.
it to be this good. I was like, oh, it's probably gonna be solid.
Yeah.
I remember that I hadn't really like heard of it. I just know one book reviewer I followed. Like they usually do like in-depth reviews, but most of the time I just check like the very beginning and the very end where they say whether they think it's good. And they gave it a high rating, and they're a lot more picky than I personally am, so I was like, okay, yeah, sounds good. But I had no clue what the plot really was. You picked it up and you were like, yeah, this sounds good. And I was like, well, it looks nice. I think I've heard that it's solid, so like, sure. So I actually had no fucking idea what was happening at all when I opened it.
And the thing for me was like, oh, you have heard that it's good? Then it must be good, because I trust your word like above the word of God. You know, I'm like, whatever you say goes. So when you said, oh yeah, I've heard that this is supposed to be good.
And it was.
And have you ever led me astray? No, you have not. I have. But we know that my standards are lower, so that's a different story.
And the crazy part was, not only was this good, it was also surprisingly gay. I did not expect this. I was like, oh wow, yeah, we're just gonna read a good fantasy book. And then I was like, wait, I'm seeing some vibes here. I'm on the I'm on the trail, but as a gay myself, I often see gay things even if the author doesn't intend them to be there. So it's maybe I'm projecting. But no, I was not projecting. You know, I feel good about this too.
When I picked up the book again and I read the blurb, because I forgot what it was about when we were buying it, I was like, oh. I mean, that would be too much to expect, but I don't know. I was like, could be something. And then before the first day starts, right? The last page anyways, I was like, I'm locked in. This is telling me everything I need to know. This will be gay. It might be tragic, but it will be gay. I swear, if this is not gay after this one quote, I will riot. Because I was
you were like, I'm gonna lose it.
Because I was as you too, I was like, I just love to ship characters. Give me two or more characters that have vibes, and I'm like, yeah. Like the people that are like, oh, I only have like one true pet. No, I'm a multi-shipper. I have like an imperium. I'm like Spain during like colony movement. You know, I'm sending ships everywhere. So I was lucky. So, yeah, it's gay. It's hella gay. If
not only is it gay, but the gayness is in part extremely plot relevant, which is really funny too. I mean, it also very at the beginning of the book already, I was like, wow, diversity win. The evil emperor is bisexual. Cool. I was like, yeah, cool. We're winning, man. That's great.
Oh, yeah. It's at that point I was already like, oh, okay, slay. But then there are parts in the books, in the book throughout, where it's like you nearly forget that that's like a thing, not because it's not being mentioned, but because it feels so natural. And then one of the characters, Kima, he comes like around the bend with something so unhinged in his thoughts, and I'm like, I had so many moments where I had to close the book and be like, Kima, Jesus fucking Christ, and then I open it again and continue reading.
Yeah, no, he really does like say some interesting things.
He thinks the interesting things too. He's okay. So maybe let's the rough setup. Okay, which perspective? Well, we have the you and we have the theater play.
I was about to say we have the framing device of a character who we know nothing about at the beginning because it's in second person, so we don't even know their pronouns until eventually it turns out, okay, it's a guy who also has a bunch of brothers. Okay.
The longest time I thought it was a woman because I'm a woman, and I'm like, oh, right, I'm done.
For some time before it was made clear, I was also like, okay, is this like the caretaker, like, you know, the parentification of like,
is it like an older sister?
And because like the Lola is also the one like who has the biggest connection, I was like, is there something? But then like, no, it was just, you know, not that. So I was like, okay, fair.
Fair enough.
Mystery solved. Thank you. But yeah, we have this framing device of someone who comes from a large family and who knows stories of this mythical, you know, homeland where their family supposedly came from.
The old country.
The old country.
Ye old country.
And and we follow them when they get dropped, when they get drawn into this dream place that their Lola told them about, where we're immediately confronted with, oh, okay, so myths are real because you're, you know, Lola told you the story, so, and it's really happening to you, okay, banger start, okay, we're doing, you know, mythical stuff, that's cool, and then the main story of the book plays out as a play in that magical theater. Yeah. Basically. And the whole book has like the 5-act structure of a play. It has it incorporates a lot of like theater like conventions.
There's an intermission in there as well.
You have the intermission, but you also have these moments where like non-main characters basically get a spotlight, turn to the audience, break the fourth wall, and tell us what they're thinking, which most of the characters for most of the time are not privy to. Until, of course, unless they're gods, in which case they can perceive what the audience can also perceive, basically. Yeah. So,
and that's the reader, basically.
A fun thing. And then we get dropped into the real narrative, and we start with...
I'm having the...
with our favorite war criminal, the Red Peacock.
I have... Okay, so I have the what's the Inhaltsverzeichnis in English? I'm blanking on my vocabulary here.
Me too. You can't be asking me such questions. It's the index.
Oh my god! Thank you so much.
I know words.
You know words. I love that the index. It doesn't say index or anything. It says the schedule of his holy pilgrimage, because that's
which is so funny.
Which breaks apart 10 minutes before it even starts, you know. But that's basically the 5 acts that we follow that you already mentioned is 5 days. So we go through 5 days. And when I looked at like the page count, each day approximately has actually the same amount of pages, except for the 3rd day, which is the one that we get from a different perspective of character that has the least amount of pages. But those are the 5 acts we have. Then we have a before and an after, which the after isn't that super long, but the before is 100 pages nearly.
Yeah, the before, the setup is pretty solid.
And these thoughts of the characters inside of the play are from the like first perspective. I was about to say first person shooter. First person perspective. And they're always written in italics. And that was one of my favorite things in the whole books. Every single time I was like in my periphery, I already saw like italics. I was like, oh, let's go. Because it gives it a lot of charm to the story and to the writing. And it does make it feel like somebody on the stage is like, you know, pause. Yeah, you probably wonder how I got here. You know, that's the kind of vibe.
Yeah, no, it's very fun, and it adds to the whole how would you say, like the vibes, because we also do not have chapters, which is fine for the most part because the days are split into the times of the day, so you still have like reasonable chunks. Yes. But the first 100 pages do not have chapters, which is very stressful when you're like, okay, I don't have that much time. Where the fuck do I stop? Because between the standard, you know, blocks of text, you have a bolded and usually italicized bit.
Yes.
But that
yes.
already leads you into the next block of text.
Yeah.
So there aren't really great places to stop in the first 100 pages. And
You just gotta
it's
go
like,
through.
man, what am I supposed to do here? And I was glad that eventually, you know, you had a more natural stopping
Yes,
point.
yes.
And I totally understand why at the beginning there weren't any, because it was all like cohesive and it all, you know, stuck together and there wasn't really a good place to separate it. But still, while reading, I was like, man, I gotta take a break, but this is like a terrible place for it.
It's also because like these, it doesn't just like set up the next paragraph or whatever. It's just literally one of the sentences that would be in the normal text. It's just bam, it's in there. And in the beginning I thought they were chapter names because they used a lot of short sentences, and then I realized, oh no, it's not. It's just a sentence. I guess the typesetting must have gone crazy for this book. You know, it wasn't just going through and making sure that relevant paragraphs are like close and tight. They must have been thinking, oh my god.
Yeah, whoever was responsible for the layout at some point was like, Simon, I'm gonna kill you. How long are we doing? Gonna be doing this?
And then Simon was going through the proof thinking to himself, God, why did I do this? But it needs to be perfect.
Simon going through and going like, here's a bit that should be italicized that you forgore. And then they had to reprint all of it. Because there's a lot in the, which is very interesting. Like, it's a very unusual way of using the formatting of the text inside the storytelling. Yeah. Which I think is really good. Like, it's really interesting and fun. And it's a great reading experience. But just thinking about the people who had to edit it to look like the behind good the scenes in the end. Oof. Damn, the amount of work, man.
I have to say, I mean, I wrote this to you in on chat where it was like, oh, I think I might have to read this book twice because I'm being so overwhelmed by everything that happens when I was into the first 50 pages. Because I was like, oh no, but just like, as you said, you know, at some point you kind of get used to the way it's written, and then it all makes sense and it's not confusing anymore.
In your defense, it really drops you into the deep end with names and like stuff and world building elements where you're like, okay, I don't know what any of this means, man.
yeah it's certainly
but you eventually piece it together, and at first you're like, oh god, do I have to keep checking which person is which? But then eventually you're like, oh no, I get it now.
Because I thought I would have to keep up with who is the italicized thought, right? As like, oh
at
no,
first you're like, oh god. But then you realize, okay, this is just different people all the time. Okay, this is, you know.
It gets important
in context. We can see it.
It gets important later on, after chapter 3. After chapter 3, it changes, and I like that because at that point you've gotten used, like after not chapter 3, day 3, and after day 2 you're like, I'm so used to this, like, oh my god, and then day 3 changes things and you're like, oh, okay, interesting, but still, this is nothing new. You can't just throw this at me. I'm so used to this. And then day 4 and like, oh, that's a new avenue.
I feel like it's not that different because it's just, you know, more like it's a more direct use of what you see.
No, of course, but I like that. Like, literally,
it's doing more with it. Yeah,
we're being taught something as the reader to understand this book, and then, you know, 2/3 into the book, it's like, well, surprise. But the things you were taught, it works a little bit different now. But maybe let's start, as you have so adequately put it, with our favorite warmonger.
Favorite war criminal.
The first tower. Making it onto the stage. Honestly, in the beginning, I didn't really care much for him, but in the end, I loved this dude. I was like,
at the beginning, you're just like, wow, you suck so much. I hope someone kills you. Then halfway through, you're like, oh no, you're a good dad. You can't be doing this to me. I love horrible men who are good dads. I hate you. You can't do this to me.
I mean, would we describe a father who has 33 walking with him, and then we have Yoon, so 34 sons running around with him in the war, battalion? Is that being a good father? But he shows his emotions. He cries openly.
I was about to say, well, his intentions are to be a good father, and he clearly cares about all of them. Yeah. Obviously, he sucks, and the culture he comes from sucks.
Yes.
So
yes.
From a like, oh, is this good for children? No, he's terrible for children. However,
they're
he
all
does
adults
love his
now.
Children, which does give him points because it's cute. It's the gap moe,
It's the one thing where it's like, I can excuse XYZ, but if he's he's a good father, I can't see past.
It's also, it is of course also because we as the audience are not neutral, because at this point we like June and he's his favorite son. Yeah. So it's like, obviously, there's more attachment from the audience. It's like...
But I just also thought he was like a little bit of a mad lad in the end, so that's why I liked the first terror. In the beginning, I was like, okay, this is our evil man. And he tattoos his children, okay. He encourages them to kill while they're like 8 years old. Grade A parenting, I guess. But his father is the emperor. The 8th
and then,
emperor, I think it was?
Yeah, the 8th. Yeah. And after you meet his 2 brothers, you're like, oh, he's the most well-adjusted of these kids, actually. Like, frankly...
I feel like the 3rd brother doesn't count, right? The 3rd brother we have to put his...
Yeah, that's what his dad said.
I know, that's not what I mean. I feel like the 3rd brother cannot be put to fault for his character, right? Like...
No, obviously it's not his fault. But I would not call him well-adjusted. That's just what... No. He obviously... if you just take your kid and you're like, wow, you're ugly, and chuck him in a hole and then tell him to kill people, I don't think you can expect him to be well-adjusted. It's not his fault. You did bad as a parent.
Because the first and the second terror, they were just dudes. They grew up, and they made their own choices, and of course in the background of their heritage and how they were brought up, but still, like, consenting adults who make their own decisions. The 3rd prince, right? Again, he was thrown into a hole, and he's just he's
just a little puppy.
He's just a little monster boy,
Sad dog. Yeah.
There's a little monster man with, unfortunately, as we now know, because it says it in the text, a gigantic dick. But
in defense of Kima, at this moment, this guy is buck naked, standing right in front of you. He's erect. Like, obviously that draws attention, right? Like, it's not like you're not gonna look.
It's also, he also, like, drops the head of a person in front of Kima.
Yeah.
So naturally,
down
following
already.
the head,
Yeah.
and then you go back and you're like, oh, there's something else that you're presenting to me. Anyways, this is at the end of the book.
This is not relevant. But no, even then, like, even with the other 2, obviously, I think, frankly, any, like, person who has, like, these kind of mind control powers that Lubu has, it's like, obviously, they're gonna be less well-adjusted, but even in comparison, like, obviously, like, Commander Araya was about to kill that guy, but that was more for ideological reasons. Like, they were pals. This guy could hold conversations. He had friends, or at least people he could shoot the shit with, Yeah.
He was having a good time.
Lubu had no one who he even liked. He was like, nah, I hate everyone here. You dumb bitches. I'm special.
The funny thing to me was this sibling conflict and Lubu being like, oh, my older brother, or people only look at him, blah, blah, blah. And like, yeah, because he's actually cooler than you. Like, look at him. Like,
I also love But everyone at his party was like, yeah, because the emperor never comes to your parties, bitch. Which is so funny. It's like no one respects him. It's so funny.
Like I couldn't fault Lu Bu for thinking that everybody thinks his brother is cooler because it's the truth. And
yeah, no, for sure.
The first terror gave me like the vibes, not the fatherhood, because that's different. But he gave me Fire Lord Ozai vibes. He's like this cool dude with like this military power, and people respect him, and he walks into a room and everybody's like, oh, he can bend the elements, he makes lightning and stuff, and wind and rain. It's more like Avatar, but he gave me like season 3 finale vibes, end fight. Just that he's also a good father, who enjoys...
Or at least that he loves his kids. He would not maim them because they're rude to him. Yes.
He shows emotions. He's sensitive. He cries. He sings. He's an artisan, and he seems like a fully realized dude where you're like, okay, I do not respect you as like, your job and what you do, but I can see like he's into
I think over a
he's
we
a
could
tattoo
have
artist
a beer
even.
and like just talk. Yeah. It's like you're crazy too because you love slaughtering people for no reason, but like
slay.
I've seen you talk to your dad, and I understand that you also don't, you don't know better. You think this is normal behavior.
Yeah. So we start with the first terror, and we immediately also get a vibe for the Emperor through his eyes, because it's like, oh, that dumb dude who just misses his bird. Which, fair. If I was, we later find out what the bird is, right? But if I was a senior citizen and my bird flew away, I'd be crushed.
You would love your bird. He did not love that bird. He thought that bird sucked ass. But...
maybe he thought, at least as a bird, it was cute.
Maybe. But I will say, the way it was framed and the way we got Sam's point of view, I was like, oh yeah, I can totally believe that this old guy accidentally, like, let his bird fly out, and, like, now it's like, blaming other people. He seems like the type of guy, and then later you find out and you're like, oh, he definitely would not have let that bird out.
Especially when there's, like, the talk about how all the time the bridges would be, like changed or like taken back, and then the whole city was disrupted because the emperor was like, I don't know, having a stomach ache, tummy ache, and then he'd be like, oh no, somebody did something bad, and everybody was just like, oh, it's just our senile emperor again disrupting daily life.
It's just what happens, man, Paranoid old fuck. Yeah, he just does this every day. We're just used to it.
So I was expecting when the story was set up. So the idea is the emperor's having some strange dreams that he needs to go to the East Coast, and
fuck off, walk over the water into the new lands or something, the Silver Horizon, whatever. That's the setup, and he goes through the country in 5 days, where in each day he will get something else offered to him by the citizens. And I thought that we are actually going to go on that journey. So I was so pleasantly surprised when the emperor dies in the first couple of pages. I was like, stop. Fuck yeah.
Really?
And ultimately we do kind of go on that pilgrimage in the right order. Yeah. But he's just not there. He's
exactly.
Just not
I thought we were going to have to suffer this man for longer than we actually have to.
Yeah, no, it is so interesting. What I really appreciated was the amount of like lush detail and description and world building we get, even for something like the palace, where we don't actually spend much time in, that we never go back to after we leave it, right? And it's like, wow, yeah, I really appreciate all the thought put into it, even if it's just a one-stop location that we just will never see again, because the moon throne is gonna be done by the end of this book. So the palace is not really relevant anymore.
Doesn't really matter that much anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like it also giving details for like an environment where we don't know whether we're gonna stay here for a while, whether this is just literally like a 3-page, pit stop. Keeps you on your toes a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's just it's so fun. I loved it. I will also say that we opened this book with the first terror, who is mostly referred to as the Red Peacock. Then we have him arriving in court where they're, sentencing that poor man who did nothing wrong except be a little too loyal and work a little too hard. His inner monologue is so sad. I'm like, dude, really? You did all that? Man, you should have slacked off some more, honestly. And then it mentions the tortoise. And Ooh. I assumed, like the Red Peacock, that this was a title. That this was just a guy who was there, to represent the emperor. Mm-hmm. Because why would I not assume that? Everyone has been referred to by an animal title. Everyone's wearing masks. I was like, yeah, why wouldn't this just be a guy? Because at first it just says the tortoise, and I'm like, okay. Sure,
but doesn't it immediately switch to the external narrator and the Lola talking about how she's like, back in the day, everybody had a tortoise?
And I was just like, is this just like a title referred to specific guys who dress up like turtles? I was like, I don't know, man. It could be anything. And then I was like, oh, it is an animal. Okay, I get it now. But at first I was like,
a binder kind of situation,
I was like, well, he's the Red Peacock who says there's not a guy called the tortoise. And who knows if not every special household has a guy called the tortoise. We don't know. It could be anything.
It's like... It says, it's one of these little paragraph headers, strange creatures, the tortoises. And then Lola explains to us what the tortoises did.
Yeah, but strange creatures, I'm like, that could also be just some magical guy. Honestly, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it makes more sense for their... Yeah. Because so far we didn't have any other talking animals. We do get other talking animals later on. We get the monkeys, but up until that point, we only had people who wear animal masks and who are referred to by animal titles. I was like, I don't think this is crazy.
I don't know why.
Could be anything.
I immediately accepted it. I was like, okay. Okay.
Our brains just went in totally different directions. I was like, well, obviously tortoises don't talk, so this is just some guy.
No, I was like, oh, it's a tortoise. Okay. The massive creature let loose its mad giggles, which filled the room like gas escaping from a cracked pipe. Your mind sometimes also is so inspirational to me. It just says
creature. This is a fantasy story. Could be anything. Could be a fat guy. You don't know.
I love the tortoises. In the beginning I was like, oh, I think these animals are going to annoy me, but after a couple of pages I was like, actually no. These are going to enlighten me.
I'm not sure where the giggling comes from, because my experience with tortoises is not that they giggle a lot, so I'm unsure why this was like the main thing to characterize them with, but like, okay.
To be fair, maybe it's like a fairy tale thing that's like, and because we're like from Central Europe, right? We have a fox who smiles or stuff, and I think tortoises, if they open their mouth, they do look a little bit like they giggle.
That's true, but it's like, but they don't make those noises. When I think of what noises tortoises make, it's more like this clicking sound, like when I think of reptiles make.
When I think of the noises that tortoises make, it's this video I saw when I was 12 of a tortoise having sex. That's the one thing, because people were like, "Do you want to know? It sounds so stupid," and then it was like shown around class, and I was like, "Oh."
You're like, wow, thanks, man.
Yeah. That's what I think
I love
of.
this association. My association, when I think of like, what would a talking turtle sound like? It's like Kung Fu Panda. So that's, we all
With a little walking stick.
Yeah. Yeah, so our minds go different places, which is a beautiful world.
Wonderful places, regardless. And yeah, we get a little bit of like exposition through the first terror, through some, and we find out that his favorite little son is currently guarding the moon gate. No, the wolf gate.
The wolf door.
The wolf door.
Wolf gate. Wolf door.
Wolf
Either
gate.
or. It's a door.
It's a gigantic golden door, carved with hundreds of wolves. And if I think you press a certain specific wolf it was, you can open the door. And inside or behind that, in the chamber, lies the one true source of power of this whole like royal line of emperors and his sons and who came before him, which is Damun, who has an actual like physical human body, because at some point she got cut out of the tapestry of the sky, basically. So there's also no like moon in the night anymore. The night is completely dark. Night is a dangerous place to be around, which is why people in general don't go out at night. Unless
it's implied there's some sort of creatures around,
something
but
roams.
They're never described, so we have no clue.
I thought that was going to be like a genuine problem, because our main characters do camp during the night outside at some point.
But they do have the moon, so...
Yeah, they do have the moon. And she's an old lady. She's sitting there. She's being guarded for centuries by now. And there's always one singular person sitting there for 6 months, guarding the gate, the door, until they're being replaced. And this time it's the first terrorist's favorite little boy. It's Yoon. He's sitting there and he's waiting, contemplating, and being slowly driven mad by the moon. When we got to the moon chapter, I had so much beef with her. I was like, how dare you do this to my baby boy? I mean, he also committed war crimes. We're not going to talk about that.
He was pretty bad before she met him too, so I feel
how dare you? And one part I was like, Yoon deserves it, but at the same time I was like,
I mean, no one deserves this.
Yeah.
Frankly. Like, unfortunately,
honestly, you went too far. Like, she's a... But yeah, there's the moon underneath the palace, and the moon gets freed, quote unquote. She actually frees herself. It's just that she needs to be
she splatters the emperor and every guard he brought with him all over the walls. So that's fun.
And in the kerfuffle, because she managed to, I'd say, manipulate, but also she kind of talked some sense into him. She convinced Yoon to, then pick up her body, because the body's very old, she's very weak. She was noticing that she was like, I don't think I have another 6-month guard left in me to be able to manipulate to get me out of this. And he runs away with his grandma on his shoulders, runs to a carriage, and then carriages away, and we start around the middle of the before part, knowing that the emperor is dead, and that we still have 5 days of voyage in front of us. And then we switch to Kima.
I love that you say it like that, because it's not like we are told what Yoon does. We just know
we find out later.
He's in a little underwater lake while everyone gets splattered on the walls, and that's where the scene ends.
I know, but I mean, it's pretty obvious.
And the book also is playing coy with you, because later it keeps being the driver the masked driver. Who could this be? And you're like, well, it's obviously Yoon. It's obviously Yoon, right? And then you have the books even oh, look at the first terror who's so upset that his favorite baby boy is dead,
Yeah.
and he's swearing revenge, and now he's trying to kill the driver for killing his favorite son. Oh no! And you're like, yeah, I know who it is. Stop.
They found the nice little bracelet. I was like, yeah, and no body. That's,
His necklace, not a bracelet. Necklace.
Yeah.
It's more mask than a bracelet.
Anyways, I thought, they constantly mention the driver in the demon mask. But for you, the reader, it's very obvious because they do mention the demon mask is what the masks, like the soldiers are wearing, who like accompany the emperor.
One of the, walking. And it's also obvious because you obviously knew the empress was going to kill everyone, and he was in a safe little pocket of water while everyone got exploded. So
he was like, eat!
Anyone with reading comprehension knows this, but still, the story's like, well, it's the driver. What a mysterious figure. Wink, wink.
Wink,
so
wink.
It really is just like, wow, I wonder who that could be. Crazy.
And yeah, the due to the emperors kind of fucking up, and the first original dude who cut the moon out of the tapestry, we now don't really have rain anymore. And the country is in disarray and everything is dangerous. So by the time that the story takes place, there are certain, what do you say, bottle points in the paths in the countryside where you have to go through the gates that they call them. It's basically little castles, checkpoints, one big gate in, one big gate out, and they control the flow through. And basically you are fucked if you arrive by the time the gate is closed, because usually you don't get in until the next morning. And each of these gates has one of the tortoises, which are basically telephone towers, receivers and senders in these gates. So that's how the whole empire actually stays connected and being controlled by the Moon Throne, because you have these points where you can just say, no, I'm not just gonna let you through. And this is where we meet the baby, the precious man,
baby. Okay,
the precious murder man, who can do no wrong, in my opinion. I was like constantly. I was like, no, I agree with Kima.
You were like, no, he's my boy. I stand.
Everything he does is correct. There's nothing he ever does wrong. It's Kima of the Dauvari tribe. He's a warrior, a proven warrior. But we also find out that must be something shady about his background, because in that world, it's not prison in the way that we know it, where, rehabilitation is at the front of the mind. If somebody fucks something up, they lose a limb. And Kima loses his left arm, I think. Or he doesn't have his left arm. So, why you get introduced
to this... He just dropped it somewhere.
Like a lizard.
Could be anywhere.
Like a lizard drops its tail. Kima was just like, oh no, there goes my arm. So while you're kind of sympathetic to this character, you're also like, what did you do? My man, what you fucked something up. And he is part of the garrison there, that kind of manages the...
He works at one of the gates, a tiger gate, which implies to me there are tigers in this world, and we didn't even see a single one, which made me very sad because I love tigers.
We also didn't see a swan. I think the
but
only
we
animal...
got to see a purple elk, which, I guess is something.
I was about to say, I think the only animal we see that also is a gate name is monkeys. The monkey gate.
Monkey.
Yeah. But we don't see a swan, and we don't see a tiger, unfortunately.
So sad.
So sad. But yeah, Tiger Gate, each of these gates has, as we said, a tortoise, a commander, like a general. This one's general as General Araya. And this is the first time where we connect the external narrator with what is happening inside of the story. Because beforehand it's just like, oh, this is this nice story that's being told to us. whatever, our narrator has a weapon in their hand suddenly. It's like, oh, I didn't even know I had it. Everybody else in the theater is like, why do you have the prop in your hand? You know,
everyone's like, why the fuck did you bring a spear to this spirit theater? And he's like, I don't know, man. It's usually at home on the wall. I don't know.
It just hangs there. And inside of the play, the story, we see that this General Araya, also has the spear. So it's like, okay. I was like, is this the spear that's gonna cut through water?
The spear that cuts through water is much gayer than this spear. This is the heterosexual spear.
This is the capitalist, materialistic spear. But this is the moment we realize, oh, okay, so there's a reason why obviously there's a reason, but there's an actual connection between the narrator and the story that's happening. And it's just a little bit of life at the Tiger Gate. Like, it's not... It gives characterization to Kima, to the people around him.
When we meet Araya, she's already like, okay, I'm gonna poison the first terror, and then people are gonna kill him while he's paralyzed.
Yes.
If this doesn't work, I am so fucked, but it's okay. This is the right thing to do. So you're immediately like, okay, things are happening, okay. Even though she doesn't know that the king's dead, like the emperor's dead, she's like working, okay, yeah, I support this, yeah. He deserves to die, I've seen him, yeah.
It's especially funny because before we go into Kima's perspective, we get a little bit of Araya, or like just like general environment description, and they're like, oh yeah, the general of this gate is like a pudgy woman, like total alcoholic, you know, just barely manages.
Who's a huge piece of shit too.
Barely manages to whip her people up into shape, and then you actually jump into it, and then you find out, oh, she wants to poison the emperor. First day he's coming through. There's troops stationed on the other side of the Tiger Gate, ready to just, you know, pluck him off the street.
Not the emperor, the first terror.
The first terror.
Because this gate is not on, like, this is on the road where the emperor doesn't even go, and the emperor and Sam fought about the fact that he was like, no, I'm gonna visit a friend for some tea. You're gonna have to do the first bit alone.
Yeah, right.
And
wants to kill the first. I messed it up. I'm sorry.
I forget.
Yeah, it's immediately you have this. Okay, I can't trust you, dear.
Okay, she is scheming. Okay, I see.
No, also you can't really trust the narration, you know, because you're like, wait a second, oh no.
None of the things the narrator said was untrue. The narrator just said that this is what people know about her. And then we get the inside of her head, which is like, you know, oh, we're getting more details on the characters, but we also get to see how the world perceives them. So we also get, you know, an impression of Kima from the outside, from like her and other people, but we also get him.
Yeah.
Well, we don't get that much from him, actually. He's very closed off, even when we're ostensibly kind of mostly in his perspective when the story focuses on him.
He is like our... like
any inner monologue from him a la the other characters until the third day is over. We don't get the first time we realize this bitch is full of shit is when he starts giving someone an entirely different backstory to his origins than the last person. Then you're like, wait, this bitch is lying. What is he hiding?
I love him so much.
No, I love it. For a while in my brain, I was like, wait, is he also like one of the, like some kind of god person?
Yeah,
whatever?
like a minor god.
Because he's so secretive about where he's come from.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, either like, obviously he just doesn't come from any tribe. He has no, like, he's all alone and the Dewara tribe does not exist. Or he's like, you know, this like... he has something more going on. But no, his life is just sad. That's his secret. He had a very sad life.
He's just Pookie. He's just Pookie. He just wants to be loved. That's literally what he says.
No, he's just like, yeah, because he lost his arm, like, no one even wants to be near him or touch him. He's so touch-starved, this poor man. No one's nice to him. Even the little kids he protected are, like, dipshits to him. And that's just, like, this poor man.
I felt like that painted such an interesting picture of him very fast, very simply, when, during this, a day in the life of Kima, you know, when there's like a sparring ring, and one of the right-hand man of the general of Araya is like, you know, who wants to spar me? Like, none of y'all are training correctly. I can kick y'all with my left toe. And then Kima's like, I'll do it. He immediately regrets it as well. He's like, I shouldn't have done that. Oh no.
Because the other guy's like, oh my god, I can't fight a disabled guy. Yeah. Everyone will think like I'm pathetic. Oh, sorry, I changed my mind. I'm leaving. And everyone leaves. The whole activity disbands.
It's not just that, like, he killed the mood, he killed the vibe, he killed everything. And in his head, and in the one way, he's like, I can't even blame him, you know. He can't fight me, the cripple, right? But on the other hand, he's so sad. He's so sad,
so
my boy.
Lonely.
It's so
lonely. You even
lonely.
get, like, a description of the other of the other people around him who watch him forlornly, like, clean up the fighting ring all by himself. And they're all like, yeah, looks kind of sad, but
poor
also, like,
bugger.
I don't want to be near him.
Yeah.
Which, just like, man, this poor guy.
And then this poor man has to go to sleep in the barracks, right? And it's described that when the emperor dies, there's like a huge shockwave, basically, that goes through the country. Everybody's feeling on edge and kind of weird, and everybody, you know, copes in a different way. And this poor, unloved, sad, lonely little man needs to lie in the barracks and watch listen to like half of his brethrens just fuck it out, and he's like, I can't do this. So he just leaves the barracks to be like, okay, other people are using this energy differently. They're cleaning, they're fighting, they're training. Maybe I'm just gonna do that, right? So I felt so sad for him. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry.
I mean, even earlier in the day when he's cleaning out the
latrine,
shit chute, and the kids come up to him and are like insult him at first, like, oh, these kids suck so much. Why are they here annoying him after he's already got the shit end of the stick, literally? And then they're like, yeah, you shouldn't have protected us. And I'm like, and you still call him like names? What is wrong with you people?
So disrespectful.
This is why your parents died, you shit as orphans.
It's like the only person that's like taking care of you guys, right? And you drag him through the dirt. How disrespectful do you want to be, little kid level? But yeah, while they're there, right? And we see the driver arriving at Tiger Gate with a carriage, and this is all out of like Kima's perspective. The guy jumps out and he's like, please, Araya, just let me through. And Araya's like, what's going on? And then
he's also like, here, I have a decree from the king. This is
and then
you have to let me in.
Disappear into her office. Driver comes out again, and Araya's like, Kima, come forth, come over here. And Kima's like, oh, what am I in trouble for? There's a variety of things I could be in trouble for, because he also like started some shit with other people during those couple of scenes. And then she gives him the spear, and she's like, you gotta give this to a person on the East Coast called Shan. Tell them it's from me. That's it. Go shoot with the carriage man, with the driver dude. He's your right. And I mean, we know it's June, right? And we know, oh, this is how they're both going on the journey with the moon, blah, blah, blah. But still, Kima's like, the fuck am I both supposed to do? Because a thing about the Davari tribe, where he says he comes from, is that they swear oaths to the death, okay?
That's what he says. Yeah.
In the beginning, I'm like, oh shit, I wonder, like, this is like one of those singular things, like these oaths. And then later in the book, he starts throwing out these oaths all the time at Yoon. He's like...
The funniest bit is also that, like, while he's talking to Araya, he's like, Yeah. And if we break our oaths, we take these knives and disembowel ourselves. This is what my parents gave me. And he's like, no. And internally he's like, well, I only found out about this shit like 6 months ago, but she doesn't need to know this. It's so funny.
He's so great. And then later with the oaths,
so funny.
He's so flippant about them. He's like, I swear, because for him it's an inside joke, right? He's like, I swear. But Yoon doesn't
Everyone's
know.
like, well, he's from the Dawara tribe. He takes it seriously, so
serious.
I guess.
I swear. He's like Valley Girl. I swear, I will.
He's like, I'm not crossing my fingers, so I say the truth.
And then it's like,
I love him.
And that's how our two main characters like get together. While Yoon is still trying to like be like, okay, can you please open the gate for us now? The first terror who has noticed the death of his dad, obviously, and the death of Yoon, and who is now
and also knows that
locked,
the Empress is missing. This is also important.
Locked in on this carriage, right? Is approaching the Tiger Gate, and then there's like a pretty badass fight scene that gives you like a scope.
I mean, it's a massacre, really.
It gives you
badass fights.
It gives you a scope of what the first terror. Because before you're like, well, I mean, he's called the Terror, but like,
yeah, you're like, well, he's some guy. You're like, how seriously am I supposed to take this? Descended from like gods or whatever.
Who's called the Red Peacock, right? Like, okay, whatever.
Okay, gay boy, show us what you've got.
And then he has a very sophisticated conversation with Araya on the fence, and he's like, no, girl, you gotta let me through. And she's like, oh, do I? And he's like, yeah. And
he's like, I respect that you're talking to me yourself, and because the last guy sent out his like subordinate who pissed himself, so I respect that about you.
That's very nice. And then he just blasts the gate, and you're like, oh, that's why he's called the Terror. Oh no. Oh, okay.
He does have some skills going on. Never mind.
And then we start basically a chase across the whole country. And I like that it was believable that the first Terror will catch up to us. Which he also does in the end, right? But it could be like this. Because sometimes what happens in these kind of stories is that you would think the villain would catch up to the main people, but they never do until the very last moment, where it's like super convenient that now the villain shows up. And here you actually do have that confrontation quite early on. I think
he gets beheaded like a chump
by our best boy Kima.
Kima. After he has, of course, the reveal moment with his son, and he's like, you're my son!
And then a couple of things happen on the road. We find out
that
they
put his head in a jar. It's so funny.
A jar of rice.
The fact that they kept the head is so funny to me. Like, obviously, I don't know. Like, maybe you knew beforehand that this wouldn't kill him immediately, but the fact that the head is around in the jar and talks at times is just such a comedy beat. It's so funny.
Originally I thought they would keep the head, so that, because I thought this is a fantasy world, obviously, like, he's not, maybe they have to keep the head so he doesn't grow like a new body or something. I just thought it was so funny that they
hilarious.
I just thought it was so funny that they put him in a jar of rice, because that's what you do to like electronic devices. Oh no, my
they didn't
phone
want to get him soggy.
My phone fell into water, puts it into a jar of rice. Oh, my dad's head got cut off by the guy who will in the end dig me down. Oh, we gotta put it in a jar of rice.
The thing really also is that when his other sons went to search for the body because they threw it in the river, I was like, oh, they're trying to, give him dignity in death or whatever. And then skip 2 days later, they're sewing his head back onto the body, and it works, and you just go, what?
Honestly,
did they know this?
I thought that was so cool.
Did this happen before? Is this like...
So I really like that. one thing, before we get ahead of ourselves, between the first terror blasting a gate and getting beheaded, we find out that the moon is a bad person. At least in my opinion, the way she already...
I think the moon's a bad person, quote. Yes, I agree.
the way she treats Yoon is so mean, and at first we are not privy to the conversation that happens between Yoon and the moon, because we see everything out of Kima's perspective, but we can already see that it must not be fun. And Yoon tries to get rid of Kima in the beginning. He's like, fuck, this dude with like one arm, that's a nuisance. And also, he has the gall, the audacity to sass me, right? Because Kima is like, just like, what the fuck is going on? He wants to find things out, and the driver is not handing out any information. So Kima is a little sass master back. And they arrive in like a place where Yoon is like, oh, you go and get like supplies, and I will get the carriage from the soldiers.
I'll secure the empty wagon that the talking monkeys told us about. We can't ignore the talking monkey bit, which happened in between, where they also called the moon a bitch, and we're like, we're not gonna help you. Fuck you. You ruined everything for everyone. We're leaving. Goodbye.
Moon's like, show me some respect. They're like, you are an old woman. I could break you in half by laughing at you. And you fucked us up bad by getting cut out of the tapestry by choice. So fuck you. And then
they're like, you and your gifts ruin everything.
Yeah.
Bitch. And then they go.
And then they do also smoke the pipe, which I thought was hilarious.
That's true.
The monkeys
also watch Kima and Yoon fight in an extended bit, yes. And they keep smoking. And they're we
cannot forget that one of the most important bits of communication between Kima and Yoon is them fighting. And most times, I think if not all times, it gets started by Kima. Because he has a lot of feelings and rage and emotions. And it literally, the text is like, and he didn't know what to do with it. He didn't know what
to do.
So he threw a punch, and Yoon is always like, "You're throwing a punch? Oh, okay." I was just waiting for this, right? So they just fight all the time, in a totally straight way, and people just always watch them. The moon watches them. The moon is always like, "Okay, 1 Mississippi." 2
She's
Mississippi.
Kids these days.
Counting to 50 until she uses her god powers to blast them apart from each other.
And she's like, they need this. But also, we have a tight schedule,
Get back to carrying. So after they duel and get watched by smoking monkeys, after they get hunted out of the Tiger Gate beforehand. Their old wagon is now shit. They gotta find a new wagon. Yoon has the perfect idea to get rid of Kima, even though the moon goddess is telling him to don't. I need this man, because you're useless. I need this other man. Don't send him away. Yoon is like, no. I don't want this man here. This man just tackled me to the ground.
Yoon is like, dude, we're on a fucking suicide mission. This guy doesn't deserve that. We're not gonna force this guy to come along and die for our cause. Clearly, he's got stuff to do, and I already hate myself enough, so I feel like we can just be a dream team.
He's like, this is not gonna work out. I also made a vow to not kill anyone anymore, so...
That's why the moon's like, hey, you need this guy who can kill people?
I need someone who can actually kill people. Like, we cannot be killing people with kindness, Yoon. This is not gonna work. And then while Kima gets the supplies, he gets surprised by one of the soldiers from the wagon, who kind of smells the bullshit, and he's like, oh no, come. A company.
Who's there to harass people. He's like, I need a power trip.
He was like, this feels a bit fishy. This girl is trying to save this man. from whatever is happening right now, and I do not like that. So I'm just gonna make your life miserable. I'm gonna make this man with one arm carry all the supplies back to the wagon. And during that time, Yoon is kind of like, snuck into the wagon. And in the wagon, we meet, surprisingly, one of my favorite characters. I did not think I was going to like the defect that much. But inside we meet a tortoise that
is
reeks,
disabled and sick.
Yeah, that reeks of like blood and infected wounds. Can't walk anymore. It just has to lay there. It's not been cleaned. It's just shat all over the wagon. And it seems like these soldiers are transporting the tortoise to another gate, where it will then have to also serve, the empire. But the tortoise tells Yoon itself, is like, I can't do this properly. I'm a broken tortoise, I can't do the radio thing, transmission stuff. I barely hear my siblings. I honestly fucking hate being a tortoise, but I also can't walk away, I have to sit here. And I think it's kind of cute in the end. I really like the tortoise. And Kima comes back, there's a kerfuffle, and off again they go. With a wagon this time that also has a tortoise. And I think it's directly after that, because Kima is like browsing in the back of the carriage while they go, that he finds the hidden compartment with a little purple bird, like a very vibrant purple bird. I just imagined like a completely purple, like robin, like a small little ball of anger. And Kima looks at the bird, he's like, a bird should be free. And without a thought in his...
No, and the tortoise is like, hey, you should not free that fucking bird.
Well, first
I've got the vibes.
First the tortoise wants to eat the bird. And then when Kima's like, you don't get to eat the bird, then the tortoise is like, well, you shouldn't free it anyways. The bird has bad karma. But Kima doesn't
Kima's
listen.
like, no, I'm a good guy. I'm gently freeing this bird, who scratches me in the face and flies away. And I'm like,
away.
Great.
And I was like, this is our mission marker flying away. If we were in a video game, it'd be like, you could open the map and you'd see the little mission marker flying away. This shit will come back and act whatever. The little purple bird. And then we go on the journey. They're on the carriage.
I mean, eventually they do get to the gate. Then they're like, yes. Oh, they're gonna take the tortoise. And they're like, but this poor guy, he doesn't even want to work here. Kima's like, I don't think we should do this, man.
Yeah.
I like this guy. It's not his fault. He doesn't have to stay here. Feels mean. And then he's like, Moon, can you please just, do the same thing to him that you're doing to yourself? Just like
slow down his heart.
Put him in stasis. And then they're like, yeah, the tortoise is dead. Everyone's like, wow, it stinks like shit, too. What do we do with the dead tortoise? And they're like, oh, we're just going to throw it out on the road on the other side. Don't worry, guys. And they're like, yeah, just go through, man. Just keep going.
I'm going to dispose of it.
Everyone's like, there's no precedent for a dead tortoise. The conversation's so funny because everyone's like, I didn't think they could die. Well, they obviously can. Can we go now? It's really fun.
It's like, what do we do then? Isn't that also, at some point, when I was done with the book, I was like, oh shit, at which specific point did this thing happen? Isn't that
before the checkpoint, the rider is intercepted and killed, but it's not, like, very important.
No, well, there is a rider on the way with a message from the first terror being like, hey, the people with the tortoise are, like, enemies of the state, and it's important for us as the reader to know that the reason why the rider does not get away is because the little purple bird comes in and kills or like throws the rider off the horse. And then Yoon is like, no, I can't kill a person. And Kyo's like, are you fucking kidding me? Kills the rider. Which makes the Moon go again, hey, this dude needs to be killed. But no, I was actually thinking of the trinket merchant. Doesn't that also happen before they arrive at the Monkey Gate?
Yeah, that also happens.
There's like a trinket dude. He sells... How do you say this so nonchalantly? This is where Kima gets his porn.
I mean, which he then drops, which Yoon picks up and probably like throws away somewhere because we don't see it again.
So there's this trinket dude. He's so impolite. Such an unpleasant person that Kima's like, I'm gonna steal from him. And of course, Kima steals a little porn tablet, and he's like, interesting. A gay person could think this would be erotic, which I'm not gay, but I also think this is kind of hot, right? And then he does drop it like a couple pages later, and then a couple pages later more we find out that Yoon finds it, and he's like, probably, what a fucking pervert am I traveling with here on the road? Which is just, to me, it was like peak comedy, honestly. So I'm shocked that you wanted to not mention this.
I mean, I just feel like it's not that. I also think, like, I mean, how in-depth do you want to go on the summary?
No,
it's not like...
No, right.
Right? Because, I mean, this isn't for people who haven't read the book and don't know what's going
just,
on.
I'm going through my mind and trying to wrangle the most important scenes. Because when we were talking about the terror getting beheaded, in my mind I was like, oh yeah, that happens while they're on the river. Which afterwards, one of my other favorite scenes happened. Which, there was just a thunder. I'm sorry. Which is the defect enjoying the countryside, right? But I was like, vibing. Oh shit, we have to mention that we pick up the defect. That's why I had to go back and the story would be like, by the way, we do pick up a disabled tortoise on the way. But yeah, after all that happens, that's where the first terror catches up with them. They have an epic battle on the boat until he manages to throw the mask off Yoon, and then he's like, no, my son! You know, it's like a reverse Darth Vader moment of like, I'm your father. And while he is distracted, Kima beheads him. And, you know, the body falls into the water and the head gets...
No, they throw the body in the water.
Well, yeah, they push him.
On purpose. It's not... This is not... The funniest bit is also that, like, it's very dark. Yeah. And the terror is, like, launching himself at Kima. But Kima is saved by the fact that the fat tortoise is sitting in the way, and accidentally the terror crashes into the tortoise first, which is dark and he couldn't see before, which saves his life, which is really funny.
It's like the
fight
little bit
of slapstick for the audience.
Yeah, the fight is like the, what do they call it in English? Travel to Jerusalem, like with the chairs, you know, they have to run around the middle because the tortoise is just there like, it can't do anything, it can't do nothing.
No, the tortoise is just like, guys, are we done? No,
what are we doing here? But yeah, the new constellation is Tortoise, Moon Lady, who can't talk at the moment because there's like these magic dispelling fishing traps in the river that they're on. A head in a rice jar, Kima and Yoon, and the tortoise. And that's one of my favorite scenes happens, which is the tortoise just contemplating life, looking at the countryside, describing the water and the insects. I thought, oh, that's so nice. I really, really like that, especially because we just beheaded a man. So I was like, look at the tortoise enjoying
I mean,
itself.
It's also, it becomes even better because we know that after the end of the story, this is also still meaningful, and you know that's really sweet.
I'm gonna expose.
Is that why you cried?
I'm gonna expose myself here and saying that I have cried while reading this book. Okay, and the first moment that I started bawling my eyes out was when the defect is enjoying nature. Because I was like, it was very unexpected. I was like, why am I crying? This is weird. Oh my god, I don't know what to do. And then I cried like a little bitch baby at the end of the book. When
that part really, I also almost teared up. I was like, oh my god, that's so sweet.
No, I was sitting there like, it's just tears all over my face.
I think it also hit harder at the end of the book because the book does not hold back at all on like violence and
It's very explicit, yeah.
No, not just that, but also in tone. It's not a very hopeful book. It's a very matter-of-fact book. It's like, terrible things happen to people who don't deserve it all the time.
Yeah.
Yes. But then at the end, like, it ends very kindly. Like, it's a very good ending.
It's a surprisingly hopeful end. Because you prepare yourself while they go on their journey. At some point it becomes clear that this journey will have to end by Kima and Yoon like sacrificing themselves. So you start preparing yourself for that as a reader. You're like, okay, I gotta have to say goodbye to these characters. And then the book ends on an oddly positive and happy note. And especially for these tortoises, you know, who are like... Yeah, I mean, yes. So they're not
the majority of them die and are killed.
What I was wanting to say was they're all connected. And one thing the defect tells us is that once they're born, they go through usually like a very traumatic experiences, which is when they get all the memories from the tortoises that come before. And you're a little baby tortoise being like, oh, this is great. And then 1 minute later you get like smited by the power of the moon goddess. And suddenly you're not your own entity anymore, but something else. And before the defect dies, it like desperately sends out these memories of this moment of calm and joy and just gentleness. And even though all of these tortoises all over the country like get killed because on the one hand they're useless now, on the other after the end of the book, and on the other hand they're like a representation of the empire and what, you know, the emperor did to all the people. But that this one tortoise that got saved in the barn is like, oh, my life will be complete if I ever get to feel peace like this. I was like, stop.
It's like, no, I'm going to make my way there and I'm going to find that one specific river and maybe then I also will feel peace. And it's like, oh man.
Stop.
And also you know that all the tortoises who could make their way also made their way in that direction. You're like, oh my god, no, stop it.
It's like a little tortoise migration all to this river country that's just like this little pearl in the north of the country. It's just, stop making me cry.
It was really sad how unceremoniously the defect died.
Yes.
I was like, oh no, my boy, not my boy. I was like, obviously Kima's not dead, right? He's like one of the main character, one of the two main characters, however you want to slice it. He's not gonna be dead. We need him for the rest of the story. But then the defect was so undisputably dead. I was like, no, my disabled turtle son, you can't be doing this.
It was especially sad because for once in its life, the turtle was like, I am receiving a transmission. Hold your horses. I am being useful. We have to go to the bowl. I'm hearing my mother.
He's like, the second Terra is dead. My mom's sending me a message who's kept prisoner in the bowl of heaven. We gotta go save her. Now is the right time for the rebellion. And then he just gets killed.
The mother is basically like one gigantic tortoise that's also like a tortoise god, like a minor god who lessened the fall of
who caught the moon,
the moon goddess when she fell from the tapestry, and that's why the turtles are connected, or the tortoises are connected, because the moon goddess was like, oh my god, thank you, and then she gave them the superpowers of telepathy. The gift.
I mean, I think, wasn't that said that the tortoise asked to be like connected to their children or whatever?
Yes, it wanted to be.
So it was like,
connected to.
Ultimately, the gift was pretty shit. I mean, it's a running theme with the gifts from the moon. They're bad for everyone all the time. She should not be doing this. But like it was a gift from her, but we also know it's pretty par for the course that all her gifts end up pretty shit for literally everyone, which is also why she's told, hey, stop doing that, it's a bad idea.
She's like going,
and then she does it one last time where she's like, Yoon, Kima, you have to eat me, this'll be good so you can finish this. And then shortly after we find out, by doing this, she both doomed you to death or the entire country is gonna die if you don't make it. So
have fun, Pick.
Good job.
This woman or so this funny. God is like mayhem across the board. I don't think
so bad.
This God has ever done something useful. And honestly, I believe Moon and Water were like in a toxic relationship because otherwise I can't imagine how that all worked out. But yeah, the fact that the tortoise felt useful once in its life, and then it actually got manipulated and spoofed by the very uncool second son. Just
I love that you're kidding the Emperor for all of these. You're like, oh, the second son who sucks.
Lubu does suck. He really does. This conniving little short fat man, I have nothing against the short kings. You must know, dear listeners, okay, because we all know how much I love the King of Highburn, our short king,
our average-sized king.
Our average-sized king. But Lubu is not, he's just average-sized king is a state of mind, and Lubu doesn't have it.
Lubu has a kind of mental problems that make him extremely unlikable from basically every angle.
And he doesn't take responsibility for it. That's
I think that's also a major thing. I think one thing is, like, I can respect a guy who, like, just, without any of, like, the context around him, who's like, you know what, I'm gonna eat a god because I want power. I think, that's a power move. I think that's drive and commitment, especially when the god tastes terrible and it's a chore and it's not fun. I respect the commitment to the bit. However, otherwise he just sucks so bad. Because, like, what does he even want with that power? He doesn't even have, like, specific goals. He's just like, I'd like to be more powerful. To feel important, because nobody cares about me.
Yeah, and he like, it already starts with eating the god. So the god he's eating is the mama tortoise, the mom god, and he keeps her alive.
Yeah,
which is like such a shitty job, because he wasn't like, man enough to be faster at eating, and also because he enjoyed the fact that she was still alive. What a fucking shithead. That has nothing to do with him being, that's not a middle child behavior. That's unhinged person behavior.
He is like a sadistic freak. Yeah. Like, that's very important, right?
That's like, very important.
Immediately, we meet him while he's holding court with all these nobles who don't respect him because he sucks, and he doesn't like them either. And he makes them do humiliating things because he can control people.
Yeah.
With his voice. And, obviously, embarrassing behavior. You just watch and you go like, oh, you're so embarrassing.
And at first you're like, he's childish, right? At first you're like, look at him. But then you realize, oh no, he's a sadistic asshole with the dancers.
Yeah, it's much worse. He's not just like a vindictive child. It's like, oh no, he just really, really enjoys hurting other people.
And it's not just out of fun, it's also out of like genuinely misplaced unhingedness. Like there's some dancers, there's triplets, and he's like, well, one of you must have been the middle child. And then at first he's like, oh, I want to give this middle child, because he's also
gonna lift her up, yeah.
Gonna lift her up, gonna make her shine, by telling her to like dance again, do the dance, but on her own. And she does the dance, and wow, it's crazy. And then he's like, this was so good, I want to see it a second time. She dances a second time, and she's even better. But then, and you're like,
he makes her do it until she breaks her leg. Yeah. So that's
breaks her leg, vomits on stage, and then makes I think even makes the Lord apologize, who was responsible for like bringing the dancers or something. which is the moment you realize, okay, holy fucking shit, I want the first tarot back. Where is my jar of rice?
Yeah, you're like,
I don't like this man.
Yeah, at this point you go, well, maybe this is also a consequence, but I think the Emperor was right. I think, actually, I also have a favorite, never mind. I think I prefer the other guy. I mean,
gonna
also,
buy some merch first, tarot, yay.
Not to out myself as someone who doesn't love monkeys, but a red peacock is way cooler than a silver monkey, is all I'm saying.
Yes, but I think just the idea of like a sigil of like the silver monkey could look really fucking cool.
Okay, but calling your guard the silver monkeys is just embarrassing. Sorry, red peacocks sound way cooler than the silver monkeys because they all sound like they're old as fuck and also like they can't behave.
And that's what you're so. It's like all just Pedro Pascal coming around the corner. It's like, just all Daddy is a state of mind.
Geriatrics, you know?
That's not what I was thinking about. I was like, oh, silver is obviously like, it's like a royal color, you know? It's like, oh, wealth, whatever. And then monkeys is like, oh, these are people who will like assassinate you in your sleep. Because they'll be just like, you know, like ninjas. That's what I associated. Not silver-haired men in their 50s. But to each their own, you know? To each their own.
No, I just also don't think, like, referring to your soldiers as monkeys is cool. Because monkeys are so humanoid, but also considered, you know, lesser than human on that, you know? So it's like, it's just weird. When I think, you know, monkeys are not big, right? Monkeys are tiny creatures for most of them.
It depends on the monkey, right?
I mean, the big ones are mostly apes. There are not a lot of big monkeys.
Yeah, but like, okay, I agree with you.
Like, right? These are not gorillas. These are like, you know,
in the context of the story previously, we meet monkeys who
the weed monkeys. That's true.
The weed monkeys, yeah, who seem to be very scary and skilled and high.
I mean,
so.
I guess I'm just not intimidated by the silver monkeys. I feel
I'm scared of monkeys. So when I saw silver monkey, I was like, yeah. Also because on the map there's a scary looking monkey.
In the defense of the silver monkeys, I will, however, say red peacock also not super scary, but both still somehow scarier than purple elk, which is just silly. This is like Milka cow kind of energy. Why is the elk purple?
Well, in my mind, you know, because the purple of the bird was described as so vibrant, right? So in my mind, the elk had the same kind of like vibrant neon,
it's like a
purple
neon
color.
Purple elk.
So it was like,
silly.
oh, the sophisticated red peacock, the silver
regal
monkey. And this
that elk.
Labubu purple elk, you know.
I mean, I guess that's why he's not mentioned before. Because at first when it's like, and then in, you know, the entrance of the cave was an elk. And I'm like, an elk? What? And then like, and there was a monkey and a peacock. And I was like, oh, okay, that's, okay, it's the third animal. But at first it was
surprised.
just like, why is there an elk? What are we doing?
I was also surprised. I was like, what's going on here? And then I looked at the map again.
And you were
there
like,
it's
there
not.
is
It's
an
like
elk.
it's because in my head it was like a moose, right? So I was like, that looked even funkier, like a bright purple moose. But then I was like, oh, I think this is the animal we're talking about, which looks a little bit less silly.
But, yeah, no, I just
But yeah, very, very, it's the whole second day, right? The second terror. It's the one with the weave. We offer our best weave. Is it that one? No, it's our finest catch. The third day is the weave. The second one is the finest catch.
The second one is where they're traveling over the river and stuff, and are at the what is it called? The meeting with all the boats where they, you know, get together.
But doesn't it also stretch on to them getting captured? Because the third day, which is out of the perspective of the moon, then takes over with her being like carried around and shit.
Because they're attacking the bowl in the night, right? So it goes from one day to the other.
I enjoyed the third chapter, the third day. At points it felt a little bit expositionary, but on the other hand, at some point that had to happen, right? Because there was
also,
still some...
How can you beat the comedy of the bear scene?
Oh my god.
When the moon
bear
becomes the bear, and it's just like, Kima's, why is he afraid of me? He should just stand there and let me, communicate, but no, he's just running away, because I'm a huge bear running after him. Why doesn't he stop?
Fucking scene ever. We get glimpses into what the moon thinks of these two idiots throughout the book, but truly her trying to communicate with Kima as a bear is the funniest thing ever. And then literally, him getting... What was it? I think she even says it at some point, this is the third time this guy is going unconscious in, 5 hours. I hope his brain is not scrambled when he comes back from this one. He was very promising. I liked it.
My favorite part was also when they're finally on the shore, what she uses her claws to etch into the wood is I am the bear, and I'm like, okay, this is not the best.
Is it not even? I think it's a stone, right? She etches it into a gigantic stone wall.
That this is the sentence, but Kima immediately picks it up. He's like, "Oh, you're the moon," and she's like, "Yeah, Opvi."
And I'm like,
it's funny.
I would have been like, "Yoon, are you the bear?" Imagine if he had done that.
It was just such a good scene. Just her being like, you know what? I was tired of being a bird. The bear was fucking cooler. I became the bear. She had no patience. She was like, I am not stealing a key for him to free himself. I am becoming a bear and I'm killing people. Fuck yes.
I mean, I also love that she was like, well, what he probably won't be even if I steal the key, right? I'm gonna give it to him and then he will fuck up. He will find a person in need and he will try to help that person in need. We cannot have this. I need this man out of this ship immediately. And then they're out.
She's like, fuck the key, I'm ripping out the metal with my...
And that chapter, those were the scenes when I said, in the beginning, 99% of the times that I cringed and had to shut the book for a moment where, Kima was the reason.
Yeah.
The 1% where it was like, ooh, this is uncomfortable and creepy and so awkward, is the scene with the finger eating.
Where Lubu is has his head in her lap and is eating
that made me it made me uncomfortable because I watched Hannibal. I'm not above the metaphor of the ultimate love of cannibalism and consuming another person. I'm on a but this
I think it's also made worse by the whole mommy angle because none of these men are normal about their mother because they never got to meet her. So it's dude, can you not talk like this while you're doing it? I'd appreciate that
he keeps
a lot.
On saying holding his villain monologue while he's suckling and nibbling on this finger, and it's just that made me nauseous.
It was uncomfortable, but there again I was like, I appreciate that this book expects it to be an adult about it and deal with it as some people are freaks. Okay, these things happen.
I definitely appreciate it, and it also puts some.
No, it's well done. So you're like, wow, this is so uncomfortable. I wish this weren't happening, but oh my god, it does make sense for these characters to be doing this. Oh my god,
it puts some fear into you as a reader. It adds to the reality of the situation. Because this man has been shown to be unhinged, and he finally has his object of ultimate desire, his mother, right in front of him. So, yeah, unfortunately, that does happen, right?
And the thing is also that I feel like in, like, a lesser book, we would have had the threat of him being like, oh, I'm gonna eat you. Oh, I'm gonna eat you. I'm preparing to eat you. But then it wouldn't happen, and they'd get away before it happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But this book's like, no. Of course it happens.
I was genuinely, the moment it happened, I was like, oh no, how much is he gonna eat? You know, I was like...
Yeah, I was like, oh god, oh no.
It's like, are we gonna have, like, you know, a whole arm? Is he gonna nibble a little bit here, nibble a little bit there?
Yeah,
like,
how bad is it gonna get? Ooh.
Yeah, that was a moment I was like, oh.
And then the red peacocks showed up, and I was like, my boys, I'm so glad you're here.
You know, at first it was like, oh, is this like I forgot the river goddess's name. It's like a Tika special squad, you know, because it was also their goal to, like, you know, get onto the second terror, right? And when I realized it's the peacocks, same reaction. I was like, yeah!
Which is so funny, because before then, like on the previous days, you were like, God, these peacocks suck so bad, somebody
Fucking
should kill them.
Assholes.
And then they do get killed, and you're like, oh, not like that, I feel bad about this now. Ooh,
Well, it's because, on the one hand, you feel kind of... Well, it's also because of what happens before, right? The peacocks are so happy, collectively. All of their thoughts are always, like, dealt as, like, a collective. They sew the head back on. The terror is being not a good dad, but a loving dad. You know, he's so happy to have his sons back. And even at that point, he's like, okay, I'm going to use this last chance to talk to Yoon and to try and convince him to come with me, right? Because Yoon also got captured and he's being held in like a little storage closet space. And they have this scene that I really liked where the first terror is like, come with me. Good. And Yoon was like, I can't.
No,
he like, doesn't even say anything.
You this chance, I will forgive you if you just come with me.
Because I still love you, because you're still my son, you know? And Yoon is like, can't do it.
I can. And also the way Sam reacts is just like, you know, he looks to the side and it's like, okay, it's okay. I'm fine.
It's like crying when the door is closed.
It's okay because I'm going to save you anyway. And it's like, oh.
He's I really appreciated that.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
That's when I was like, I can't believe
you made me care about him. No.
Don't make me side with the first terror. Jesus fucking Christ.
Right? I was like, dude, I remember the first chapter, like, where he sucks, but also, man, now I'm sad.
No, my Rice Star man. And then he's being forced by his brother to kill all of the peacocks, and I was so offended. I was like, I already hated Lubu, right? I was disgusted by this man because of his finger snack.
This was so fucking cruel.
Then he kills the peacocks, and like reading this, I was like, oh no, please forget Yoon. I was really like, oh no. And then when he's like, oh, there's one further son, I was like, no! Like I was so stressed. I have not been that engaged in the book in a while. I was so fucking stressed.
Also like, no, not my boy.
Oh, especially because out of Yoon's perspective, he's like, oh, he hears steps in the hallway, and he smiles because he thinks it's Kima saving him, and then it's actually the first terror, right? Who like, yo, son, wanna come with me? So Yoon is still sitting there thinking that he's gonna get saved by our best boy, and then he actually gets taken to the murder room, which is now like completely red, drenched in blood, because Lubu didn't just make the first terror kill his sons, he made them like execute them with like maximum blood spray all over the floor and ceiling and everywhere.
And it's also described so viscerally. It's like, wow, I appreciate your use of language, but also, man.
It's like, we have 33 of these, holy fuck. I mean, and not all 33 are being described, but enough for you to go, oh, This was not, it's not like as we perceive it in the book, like, oh, haha, this is a 2-minute endeavor. You feel that this takes a while. Because Lubu really enjoys the moment where it happens. And then Mother is back.
She saves Yoon, which I do appreciate a lot.
Yeah. I still didn't like her. Okay.
You're like, But like, I thought it was...
But when she gets the actual motherly feelings... And she looks at Yoon and she's like, I could never imagine how anybody would ever want to hurt this beautiful, beautiful young man with this angelic face. And I was like, yeah, look at what you've done. Look at what you've done, you little bitch.
The thing is also that, like, she is not well, right? And she's also not honest with herself. But her being like, where she's like, oh, I didn't care about him, but I cared about what he represented. And in that moment, I couldn't bear the thought of, like, the hope of a better world being snuffed out, so I had to save him. And it's like, aww. You're not the worst woman in history.
So sweet.
Yeah.
One thing I liked, which we didn't even mention for this third day chapter, in terms of, like, how the book was written, is that while we're sitting in the theater, the narrator of the theater play is the child of the moon and the water, this celestial body. And the celestial body is like, we are now welcoming the moon herself onto the stage, which made the whole thing feel kind of even more ethereal, because it's not just, we switch perspective to make the flow of the story work better for the specific, scenes that are happening, but it set it up so nicely, and it sets up the end of the third day so nicely, because she takes her bow and then she leaves the stage, and everybody in the theater is like, oh shit, the moon is done, moon is dead, moon is...
The thing I was surprised by is that she died, because I was like, okay, if you eat people, you absorb their power, right? And she turns both her sons into a fleshy coin, which she eats. And I was like, oh, is this gonna, power her up a little bit? Because there's still, like, the remnants of the tortoise god in there too, right? But then she's like, nah, man, peace out, I'm gonna be dead in a few, like, hours. We have, like, a little bit of time. You boys... You have to eat me. It's just the rules.
You have a mission now, laddies. Yeah, and then she gets eaten. I appreciate, actually, because I was still freaked out by the finger scene, that the eating of the moon goddess isn't as super explicit. It's like, it's like we ate her. The bones were taken care of. We put them in a bag. It wasn't like, and then we took her femur and that's not
the most we get is Kima being like, the flesh was kind of shit, it was like gamey and tasteless, because it's
an old woman
she was all dried out, it was not good.
That's why they made her into soup. There was not much to her. And then starts the beautiful, beautiful time in this book. First, you want to say.
Before that, I do want to point out something that we haven't really mentioned before, but that draws itself through all the days, which is that the entirety of people, basically, of all the people living in this country, fucking hate the throne. They fucking hate soldiers. They hate everything associated with it. They're just scared shitless because obviously, like, the red peacocks are insanely violent and everything. So, but at every turn, right, like, the villagers where Kima and Yoon end up stealing the wagon, they're like, fuck these soldiers. We're gonna try to trick him. And when, the moon blasts them into a little hole so they can't follow the wagon, it's heavily implied that all the villagers come together and kill these people. And at every turn, even on the, third day, there is actually already like a rebellion going on because everyone in the bowl fucking hates Lubu and they already shot him with several arrows. It didn't work, but they were trying.
It was like a full assassination sniper attack.
Yeah, no.
From like
it really,
miles away.
Right, yeah, you really learn that like, okay, the thing Araya planned clearly was not isolated. Clearly there was like a sophisticated, we're gonna kill all these bitches plan in the works for a while now.
They were done. They said the Emperor wants to go on a trip, not with us.
Yeah, they were like, oh, he's not gonna come back one way or another, man. We're gonna make sure.
Yeah.
Or especially, well, he's going on a trip and we're making sure none of his kids are around to inherit the throne. Yeehaw. But
we're gonna
really,
end this thing, yeah.
I mean, people set Kima and Yoon's wagon on fire because they're driving a royal one with a tortoise inside. So, like, people really hate soldiers and everything related to the throne so much all the time. It's so charming. It made me happy every time. I was like, yeah, you're so right about this. You should hate these people.
It also made the whole rest of the story feel less like a happenstance and more like the immovable force, right? No matter what, something would have happened anyways. It might not have happened this dramatically, but like it's not this typical it's just our main characters. No, it's everything is connected. It's like,
and it really is just like, the moon especially set out to kill the rest of her family, but also everyone else was on board with it, and without them it would have never worked.
Yeah.
So it's like, it does matter. And it does matter.
Everybody was fed up. Everybody was ready to throw hands.
Now we get, after the third day, we get to the gay shit.
To my favorite best part. Because beforehand, any thoughts or descriptions from Kima towards Yoon were like, just Kima and the reader were privy to that. And now we find out that since they both ate the moon, they can hear each other's thoughts and like feel the feelings, and the closer they are, the more heightened that sensation is. And it's so funny because now we get so much insight into Yoon's feeling towards Kima, because beforehand it's like little bits and bobs here and there, but like nothing very like definitive. And
then it's like,
floodgates are open, and Kima, the little shit, he keeps needling him. He's like, yeah, but what did that mean? And Yuna's like, just leave me alone. Kima's like, no, I really, like, you think I'm handsome? And Yuna's like, no, I don't. Are you lying? Yes. You're lying. He's like, stop, get out of my brain. It's one of my...
so funny.
It's so funny.
It's so fucking fun.
And
it's also funny because, like, Yuna's possessed by all these, like, angry ghosts, right? Who won't leave him alone.
Yes.
And then they're trying to ruin his self-esteem. And they're like, wow, this guy will never like you. And then he breaks out of, like, the whole, like, spiral because he's like, no, I think he actually does kind of. Heh.
Yeah, you think he...
And the ghosts are like, okay, lost cause. We can't beat the gay shit.
Yeah, at the very end, it's like, I guess love does win all, Okay.
Like, fine.
Power of gay saved the day.
That was just so funny.
But then because I was like, oh, this is so delicious, this is perfect. And then immediately, because Yoon feels so ashamed, and also because it's like uncomfortable, because they can't control their thoughts, because they also think, like, Yoon also thinks some not so nice things about Kima, and then Kima gets pissed about it. He's like, wait, were you calling me a cripple, man,
and Kima's like, hey, you called me a cripple? I'll remember the way it felt to behead your father. Ha! Take that.
It's like, do you get the feedback of when my hand kind of got stuck a little bit in his throat? Yeah. Did you feel that? Right. And then I was so sad.
Like, no.
Their solution
we need alone
to that
time.
Is that they don't walk together anymore. I was so sad. It was like, no. This is the very nonsensical second act breakup. We don't need this, okay?
I mean, it's not even a breakup, because in the middle of it, we get to the sensual washing and shared masturbation. So that
was another who was like, what is happening? So what? Yoon goes into the river, and then first
he's like, yeah, I should wash myself.
And he's washy, and then isn't Kima is also being followed by something at that point, isn't he? Isn't there something else with him for a short while?
I mean, is the bird there?
Something was there. No, this is just Yoon getting PTSD.
Yeah, he does that all the time.
Yeah, the purple bird is with him.
Yeah, which makes it funnier, frankly.
Yeah, in hindsight.
Given what we know. It's like,
given what we know.
At first I was just like, okay, this is some sort of magical bird, because when he freed him first, right, we do get some of the bird's perspective.
Yeah.
Where it's clearly implied that thing thinks to some degree, so I was like, okay, this is like some magical thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this surely will have, like, consequence. I'm sure, like, that'll be your friend now and help you. And then it did help him, and I was like, okay, that's your pal. And I was like, are you really doing this in front of your pal? Do you not feel weird with the bird there? This bird is smarter than the average bird. Please.
I just thought, we don't know who the bird is. I thought, what if the bird is also the moon, I was like, I don't know. What if the bird is someone? What if the bird is like, I don't know, the first Taro's toenail? What if the bird is the emperor, right? I was so worried.
You were so close.
And I was. In the end, I was like, oh, honestly, yeah, I forgot about the third son. And then I was like, he's doing this in front of the bird, and also Yoon, the little minx, right? He's standing in the river, right? And he's like, oh, what if I, wash myself a little bit more sensual? I was taken aback by that scene. I thought, damn, we have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I was just like, wow. I will admit, in many situations, when, like, such scenes happen in books, I'm always like, do you not have other things to do? Is this a moment to get horny?
They but were apparently doing the do. Like, Yoon was literally doing the thing, right? Yeah. He was washing himself. It's Kima who gets hard from the feeling of Yoon washing himself.
He made it weird.
Yeah, exactly. It's always Kima's fault. It's always Kima's fault.
Kima's like, everything is Kima's fault.
To be fair, imagine you're in this situation, right, where you're walking, and then the guy whom you have, like, affection for, and where you're like, I think this is actually the one chance in my life where I could be, like, romantically, sexually loved by someone. And then you feel the hands on you, right? And you're like...
yeah, you're like, this beautiful twink is doing things to me.
Can't blame the man. Cannot blame the man. Honestly, I was like, Kima, I get it. It's okay. Yoon actually is the one who gets cheeky with it, because he's like, oh.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And then he gets a PTSD attack, and he's like, never mind.
He gets
my boner's gone
by
the angry ghosts.
Kima is like bracing against the tree. He's already like nearly there. He's like, whatever Yoon's doing in that river, yes, great. And then he's like, what the fuck just happened? And Yoon
is really funny.
So out of Kima's perspective, this is like a fever dream, drug trip. He's high, and Yoon is just having a horrible time, actually. So, yeah, that happens. And then they make their way to what's it called? The Holy City, I think, in the east. On their way, they meet the people that know about this Shan person that Kima has to give the spear to. A very important thing happens in between, which is where Kima loses the spear.
No, that happens in the bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He loses the spear at the bowl. But we're like, oh no, how is he gonna get his spear back? And then it switches back to the theater, and the celestial body is again like, okay, surprise, collaboration featuring these two. Because while they are like having another hissy fit discussion, Kima is like, so do you want to talk about what we just did a couple hours ago? And Yoon is like, no. And then they fall asleep, and then the purple elk thing happens.
Okay, but that's pretty, like, before that we meet like the trinket seller again, we travel with a bunch of people, we get like caught in, they have another fight dance session where they almost
it happens out. All the time.
It does happen all the time, but still they're just done with like fighting after they almost danced, and then ta-da, a purple elk. Ta-da, a silver monkey.
First, ta-da, like a sandstorm or whatever happens, and then they have to hide in the cave very conveniently.
Yeah, but that's where they're fighting.
Yeah, and,
right?
and then
they're already elk in the cave.
Yes.
And then they're like, surprise! In the entrance, there's an elk, and the elk's purple. And I was like, what? And there was also a silver monkey. And a red peacock, and with it. Oh, okay, I get it now. Okay, yeah.
The first...
And then the three lead them through the metaphysical realm.
They walk on a gigantic hair into a head.
And it turns into a cave. There's a lot of, symbolism.
If we talk again about the fight cave thing, I was giggling to myself so hard when that got mentioned in the text, because they meet up with the trinket seller, blah blah. There's a storm coming. They all run into caves to take shelter. And Kima and Yoon are alone in their little cave. And Kima, and me as well as the reader, right? Kima's like, oh, we're alone for the first time. Oh, are we gonna, oh. And I was reading. I was like, go Kima, and then, Yoon is like, no, I want to train and fight.
This is so funny.
And I thought, oh. Okay, I felt with Kima, I was like, I also thought we were gonna go somewhere, but apparently we're gonna go...
Well, they're going somewhere, but it's a lot more depressing than sex.
Yeah. It's like a similarly enlightening experience, but they...
Yeah, I mean, not often do you end up in a theater out of time where people tell you to kill yourself for the sake of everyone in this theater who would not be alive if you.
Also, where you get told that these people have been following your story and considering what you just did against a tree. It's like... Yeah, no, at that point it's like, oh.
But I think that is overshadowed by the whole, hey, you gotta kill yourself or everyone dies.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I do think.
And I was that didn't make me cry, but it made me want to hold Kima. Where he was like, no, I can't die. I was so fucking close. And I was like,
yeah,
baby boy, I get it. You were so close.
You didn't even get to experience the little death first, man.
No, he got cock-blocked by PTSD. It's honestly a shame.
It's like... Kima and Yoon, I consent, 1,000 angry ghosts. I don't.
Did you forget to ask someone else? That is just the moon-induced psychosis, like, on the side. Because I think it's important to mention that while Yoon had a lot of, like, guilt and shame associated with his earlier life, the reason why he has this choir of people in his mind is because the moon thought it would be a good idea to give that to him, to make him more susceptible to her machinations.
And, I mean, she was right, but it was also a cruel thing to do.
The moon cock-blocked.
The moon is like, well, it worked, but it was not the best idea. Oopsie.
She's like, oh, I crippled it. Oh no.
And she's like, it's so funny. Like, when she's about to die, she experiences, like, oh, maybe I was kind of a dick. Oopsie. I actually like these people. Why did I do that? Oh well, I'm dying. Goodbye. Sayonara, not my problem anymore.
Yeah. Kima's going through it. He's so sad. And then everybody is like, wait. No, not everybody. The celestial body is like, wait, before you all leave, and points at the external narrator. It's like, oh, here. Come on.
Who has the spear? It's like, come up here.
It's a spear. And then that is when we find out that every single person in this theater is related to our girl from the very beginning, from Tiger Gate.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, we're suspecting, obviously, that the narrator and Araya were somehow related because, you know, it's the spear, and we get told that it's like a family heirloom, yada yada, but that the whole theater is made up of Araya descendants is quite the feat.
Yeah, because they're all from extremely different times, because you do see that some of them are still living like mythical stories, and other people have like a very mundane normal life, like our narrator. So it's like, wow, that's
some
crazy,
seem to be from the future, from like distant planets and stuff. So it's like through all time and space, basically.
It is wild. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's just you with the spear, and you have a little talk with Kima, and basically it's just so mean. It's like, Kima, do you really want to abort this boy? You know. Make a decision, Kima. And Kima, like,
do you want to abort this boy in like the 200th month or what?
It's like, do you want to do this postnatal, whatever? I forgot what it's called.
Abortion?
You know.
Yeah.
No. There's prenatal care, and then there's post-birth. I forgot the smart name.
Postnatal care. Yeah.
Postnatal care. I guess that is. But yeah, they have a little talk, and then Kima's like, oh, yeah, I guess, you know. And then,
I mean, it's also because the moonlit body is like, well, I mean, you can go through this door, which means you'll survive, but you'll live alone on top of the palace of the emperor, while the whole land is flooded and the sea will get you eventually. So, you know, that's like, not a great prospect either. And Yoon's so on board with killing himself that Kima's like, okay, you know what?
I'm also gonna kill myself.
I'll do the right thing.
One last date. And that's how he gets the spear back. So we are back on track, right? Our boys are starting to master their moon god powers. They've got this new appreciation for life because they're about to die in like 3 hours. Spear's back, and we're right in front of the city gate, so the holy city, ready to rumble.
We meet Shan finally and find out she's Araya's daughter and all her backstory. And I was honestly, when we got the spear, I kind of thought Shan was like an ex. I thought that was like, you
honestly,
know, someone Araya had fought with, and was like, they broke up, but they still cared about each other. Yeah. Like, that's what I thought. So I was like, oh, it's a daughter, never mind.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah. I was like, I mean, we do meet the daughter earlier, on day 2, actually.
Yeah,
like,
but
oh, you
then
know,
we get her perspective.
Minor character.
And, yeah.
Then we don't see anything of her for, like, until that moment where there's, like, I would say there's a little bit of, like, a lore drop of, like, okay, I need to tell you all of this, so you just gotta go through it with me for a second. You're like, okay, wait.
Yeah, but it's also like, oh, finally I'm connecting the dots.
For me it was like, okay, wait, who married? And she married. Okay, and then she. And now he's in prison. Oh no, he's in prison. So it was a little bit like. But we basically get told that Shan is here because she wants to go to Joy Rock, which is like, gets mentioned sometime, like a couple times before in the book, which is like the super secure,
crazy super prison. Yeah.
Yeah. And her father is or was thrown into Joy Rock. So her idea of something that she wants to do together with the forces of that want to topple the emperor's throne and then take the holy city is also that she wants to go to Joy Rock and save her father, hopefully find her father first and foremost. And that's how they kind of like that's why Yoon and Kima then get like ushered into the direction of just follow Shan, and then they find Shan and she's like, well, I gotta do this thing, and they're like,
here, take the spear, it's for you. And she's like, my god, thank you, but I'm busy.
Yeah. But she does take the spear, she does believe them, and she's like, okay. Which I thought, thank God she's so willing. I was like, oh, what if she would have
she does recognize the spear. Yeah. It's like, it's not a common one.
Yeah, so and I mean, Kima does know her name, and he does know of Araya, and like, you know, so she's like, okay, too many kuanky doinkies for this to not be true. And then something miraculous happens. Something that, you know, was very present and erect, which is we find out some background, because before it's been alluded like, yeah, the third son that they want to kill, the third terror, like not people, like people don't know much about it. He lives in his palace, yada yada. We find out
he's barely talked about. After we met the second one, I was like, actually, yeah, what is with the third one?
We know nothing of the third one. All we know is that he lives in the palace, and then we find out that actually Joy Rock is like
inside the palace,
right? Yeah. And there's only like this old woman who guides Shan, who cleans, to she's called the attendant, who cleans and takes care of stuff and shows Shan the Joy Rock entrance, which is just a hole that they either kick people into, or if they're like being nice about it, they let them climb down on a ladder. And then inside it's basically like there's a huge labyrinth in which a monster lives in, and this monster has to wait until the sentence is up and has to take care of the prisoners, more or less.
The monster can do whatever it wants, but it's lonely, so sometimes it's nice to people.
Yeah, well, but it's not allowed to eat them, technically, before the time is up. They have the branding on the cheek, which is the number of years that they have to stay in the prison.
I mean, yeah, but also no one ever makes it out, so...
Yeah, but...
No one's checking
because they get eaten afterwards. But yeah, the monsters feeding the people sometimes, regurgitating the food and being like, here you go. And then they get to eat whatever the monster gives them. But it's all a bit weird, and you're like, this is such a strange place, and there's nobody here, and like there's no other people. And I mean, there's a fight in the city because the loyalists get attacked by the others, but still it's a bit fishy. And while Yoon and Kima are standing there, we get the bird again. And we're oh!
They're not just standing there.
No, they're
surrounded and fighting for their life and about to die because they're overwhelmed by silver monkeys and...
No, purple elks.
Antlers. No, both. They're fighting together.
Both?
Because they're
both
loyalists.
I thought it was just purple elks.
No, it was because the rest of the silver monkeys joined, like, in the city.
The purple elks? Mm.
Yep. So they're overwhelmed, and then the purple bird kills all of them and is like, look at me, I'm such a good boy.
It was and then, the way they described it with like that the purple bird took like the wing and was like a little
wing and like hides behind. It's like
like it's described like a courtier hiding behind a fan, you know, been like very very sassy about it. And then the purple bird transforms. And it's like, it's a monster werewolf man. And then we get another background on the children, and actually on the way that procreation works with the moon goddess, which I also thought was quite interesting. Because she was like, I'm bored. I fucking hate all of this. I fucking hate it when these emperors come along and give me a bowl of their semen and go, I want a child, a son. So she's like, I'm gonna give you 3. She eats the contents of the bowl, and then instead of one new little emperor child, she makes 3, which would be the 3 terrors, which splits up the emperor powers. So we have the super cool first terror. Yeah, he gets the elemental powers. We have the super uncool second terror, like Boo, Lu Boo, that's why it's his name. Who has the voice control powers. And then what the emperors can also do is shapeshift. So the third child comes into this world as an ugly little baby with a wolf head. And that's...
Which I think is really mean because
yeah.
Puppies are really cute. So I feel like this is really mean. I'm just saying, if you're like, wow, this ugly baby wolf head, and I'm like, that's a puppy. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's another way one can see this.
Anyway, the emperor is a hater, and is like, I hate my wolf child, and I'm gonna abuse it, and
the ugliest baby ever.
Yeah.
And then we find out that the monster, they call him the monster prince, or the demon prince. He is the monster that's inside of Joyrock, and the attendant is basically like a substitute mother to this monster, and the prince can only transform into things that he knows, that he has seen, and he's a very limited a visual library of things.
Yeah.
Until one time the attendant finally lets him out. She's like, here, come on, baby, go. Yeah.
Be free.
Fun, be free. And then he has a lot of fun, turns into different animals. He really likes the bird buddy. But, word traveled fast, and he's not the smartest of the bunch, and he gets captured by the emperor, and after that kept in the cage as the purple bird, who then gets stolen from the palace, and deposited in the tortoise carriage, and that's where Kima sets him free. And the moment this bird sees the rugged Kima with his one arm and his charming smile and his gentle
and also
soul
is held so gently,
in this one hand, after the first shock of having to scratch his face, he's like, this will be my future husband. I have never known this amount of love. And throughout the story, there's sometimes things that don't add up, where you're like, oh, what happened here? But then it doesn't get mentioned again. And you're also kind of, your attention is elsewhere in the story, and you kind of forget. But after that, the prince makes sure that, Kima has safe travels. There's one scene where it's like there's either they go left on the river or they go right on the river, and they don't go right because there's this Dido there, that usually means you shouldn't go in this direction, but the purple bird is like, no, we should go. We should definitely go. And I was of the opinion of we should listen to the purple bird, which they don't.
Listen to the bird.
They go the other way.
Because Yoon is like, we can't go there. It's too dangerous. We should not trust that bird. Come on.
It's
we
like,
all know
Kima, you're fucking
there's
serious?
Insane danger. And Kima's like, okay, we will do what you want. And this is probably one of the reasons the bird has a beef with Yoon.
It's the starting point, I think, where the bird is like, my future husband seems to take this beautiful, heinous little bitch face man into a higher regard than me, this beautiful purple bird.
Yeah.
And then he starts really hating Yoon the longer the story progresses.
Yeah, and also because Yoon looks kind of like his dad, and all of these brothers have insane brother issues because the emperor didn't really treat either like any of them
Yeah.
well, but he did have a clear preference, and everyone else was mad about it.
And so the purple bird, the man, he saves them, and then like a cat that just caught like a mouse
it's like,
for you.
look, I killed all these people for you.
he
Now you
drops-
love me, right? And it's like, girl, read the room.
He drops the head in front of Kima, and the thing is, our monster man is very tall. I think it's like, what did I say? Like nearly twice as tall as Kima or something. Like
he's very tall.
So actually, his junk is right in Kima's face. No wonder he's looking at it. Because just like you said, he's like, oh, now you can love me. I did everything that you would want me to do, and he's ready to go. He's ready to.
The thing is also that this man doesn't talk. He's never been,
I don't think
taught
he
how
can
to
talk.
speak, which we know even like non-wolf-headed human children need in specific time periods, or they'll never learn it. So it's like, well, he's not communicating this effectively.
He also
to
got punished
Kima, this is all kind of threatening.
He got punished whenever he was turning himself into humans, mainly his father and his brothers. So there wasn't even a chance for him to even practice speech. But yeah, Kima is terrified. Kima's like, there's this creature in front of me with dick is out.
It's also like he knows that's the third prince, and he's like, oh, we gotta kill this guy before we kill ourselves. Yeah. So, it's kind of on our bucket list. So
is on the vacation at the countryside bucket list. Yeah. And then they have a fight, and then there's a short intermission in the prison, and then they save Shan out of the prison, and then there's like a Studio Ghibli final fight moment where
he becomes a giant wolf man.
Becomes a giant wolf man, like several houses tall, and their idea is, okay, so the water is retreating.
The water's building up to a tsunami, which is great.
To make like the world-ending tsunami. Best idea is if we run to the cliff, jump off the cliff to the ocean floor, and let's just hope that we can kill the third terror with the wave. That's the idea. That's the plan that they execute quite well. Until they land on the ocean floor. And then what exactly happens to lead to the duel?
Well,
doesn't June get thrown through a boat or something?
Yeah, and like the the prince is like, wow, if it weren't for you, Yoon, Kima would love me. So
it's very
you're like the manifestation
math.
of everything I've ever hated. So I'm gonna kill you, and it'll fix everything. I'm sure.
Yeah.
And he's about to kill Yoon, where Kima is then like, no, duel me, and the third prince has always been excluded, and he was like, yeah, I've always wanted to duel someone. And
he also wanted to duel
it.
Kima. It's in during the POV of the prince. He's like, I want to duel with him like he does with the other guy. Whale.
That too. A real sword fight.
A real crossing swords. And instead of conquering forts, they played with their swords. Yeah. And then it's like, you've got all these onlookers of people who stand on the sidelines, looking down at the fight, and it's like, okay, there's giant monster man and one armed person who is not having a good day.
Yeah, and Kima gets beat pretty quickly because he's in terrible shape, and Wolfboy is very tall, but Wolfboy respects the rules and is like, that was a good duel. Now I'm gonna curl up around my mother's bones and, sleep. Which is really funny. It's just like, wow. This family's so dysfunctional, man.
I thought it was a bit anticlimactic, but at the same time it fit the theme of all these sons want is to just huddle up to their mom.
I also thought it you know, obviously that didn't happen, but a real comedy beat would have been, because he's got a wolf face. If he started chewing on the bones, because he's a dog.
Stop! No, I would have lost respect. I would have, if it had been like that, he like crunches up the bones into little splinters. Okay, but just nibbling on it like a chew toy, nah. He wanted to nibble on something
soon
else
anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then
so we leave Kima and Yoon being like swallowed by the wave.
We forget
after they perform their gay ass dance together. That's true.
The gay ass dance. The gay ass dance, might I add, which drops the title of the book.
That's true.
So
it's also magic. Yeah,
it's magic. Little side note: we find out that Kima spent some time on the pleasure boat, being a guard, taking care, that nothing untoward happens to the workers there. And one of the workers teaches him how to dance. And so what he does in secret before he gets to Tiger Gate is he does a lot of dancing, and he yearns to dance again, which is also why he duels. He's like, oh, so it's close thing. So what he does in this moment because that was comedy. He and Yoon stand there and like, so this wave is coming. We actually don't know how we need to kill ourselves or what we need to do. I don't know. And then they dance, and it's like it's a very poetic dance. It's a dance that symbolizes the spear that cuts through water, and then the wave splits, and then they get drowned.
But it's not just the wave. It splits and then turns into two arms that gathers them
embraces
up.
Them. Yeah.
And then sucks all the energy of the moon out of them, because as you do. Because the ocean's like, that's my wife. Let go of my wife.
Wife dead. Now sad. No, they have like a real Star Wars Rogue One ending where they hug and are like so sad, and then after their dance, then the water comes, and then the moon powers get sucked out of them, and Kima like feels himself drowning, and then we're back at the theater.
We're back basically. In the theater, and it's like, wow, is this over? And our narrator is like, I thought this was a love story.
Bro,
sad face.
This was the second time. Okay, I was already emotional. Yeah, okay, very emotional. And when that moment happened, I don't even remember why the narrator gets put on stage. It just looks at him, and everybody, honestly, anxiety-inducing moment. Everybody was fucking
that moment I was like, dude,
looks
this is horror.
And the narrator is like, oh god. And it's like, okay, so you're not happy, what do you want? And when he then went, I thought this was a love story. That's when I started crying. I could not see the rest of the page. I was like...
And I also love that the moonlit body is like, right, you are. This is a fucking love story. We're not done yet.
And I was sobbing, right? I was like trying to get through the pages. I was like, what do you mean? They're coming back. Right? Because I think the whole exposition of and we knot this thread, when does that
comes
happen?
before it, yeah. It's
right?
like,
so
it tells us where the spear goes, like how it travels, what
like
happened
family.
to the country afterwards and stuff.
Yeah, and I had calmed down, right? And then immediately poof, crying again because of that. And then we find out that they get the the moonlit body is like, pretty please, Dad, Mom,
can we fix this? And they're like, okay.
Can we get them back?
Fine.
And then Kima's like,
and it ends with them having sex. Yay.
Well, Kima's like, can we bang? And then Shana's like, actually,
the dude wants to be left alone.
He left. And he was like, no.
I don't care that he's insecure. I am getting laid. No one can stop.
I was emotional, right? And then he catches up to Yoon, and then Yoon is like, why am I still ugly? I was the waterworks came out again.
Yeah,
right.
That was
Because you have this moment of Shan being like, "Wait, dude, why do you not have your arm back?" And Kima's like, "Excuse me,
she's like, I mean, they didn't make you whole," and he's like,
"Yeah,
the fuck did you say?" And she's like, "Sorry."
You're like, "I am whole." Yeah, and then you're like, "Oh no," and then Yoon's like, "Why am I still ugly?" He's ugly crying, and I'm crying again, and then I feel like a fool because I'm crying, and suddenly they're getting it on the page. And I'm like, what?
I think I will say something that is also extremely funny to me is that Kima first sees Yoon. This is the first time we actually get any kind of real, like, useful visual description. He's like, wow, such a delicate, pretty boy. And Yoon's like, I'm so ugly. And everyone's like, what the fuck? Obviously it's his hang-up with the tattoo, of course, but it's also so funny because it's like, no, we know you're a pretty boy. What the fuck are you talking about? You're an eminently fuckable twink. Stop saying you're
because
ugly.
At that moment he also still has the weird PTSD ghosts until they disappear.
Yeah, no.
So that's why he's like, why am I still ugly? It's been described previously that Yoon has like a not an ugly face, but that's the moment where Kima's like, ooh. I swear, that was such a weird feeling, and then like my feelings flip-flopped so hard because this part is interspersed with him going back, or like them going back to the Thousand Riverlands, to the bowl, because there's this one woman where it was like the promise that he would let her
that he'd
kill
come
him.
back and she could kill him if she wanted to.
So I was like so confused and so emotional.
She gonna die.
And then they fuck, and I'm like.
And that's what the book ends on. This is the last page.
It's insane. It's honestly...
It's really funny.
Like, it's not insane. It's really fun. But it's like...
This is like not at all what I expected from the way the book starts, that we'd be ending it on a sex scene. It's really funny.
It's, yeah. Every last ounce of energy spent. Jesus Christ, for they did not stop. Oi! Like... Yes! It just keeps on going!
So funny.
Yeah.
Well, they both haven't had sex in years, probably.
Yeah, but they still knew what to do.
It's really funny. No, it's just... The way it ends, it's just, like, incredible. You come out of these highly emotional scenes and it's like, oh, okay. I guess we're doing that now.
And I was sitting there and I was laughing and I was crying and I couldn't stop crying, and I think it was just, I was so, my system was just shocked. And then I wrote you and I was like, I'm fucking crying, and you were like, I'm not finished with the book yet, I can't comment.
And you just sent me, I think, a thumbs up or something. I was like, I should be finished tomorrow, and you were just like, thumbs up, and I was like,
I was like,
okay, that's okay.
No, I was like, okie dokie.
Okay. And then I made it to the end and I was like, okay, this is really funny. Why is this ending on a sex scene? And you were like, right, I was crying, and then I had to laugh.
Yeah, no, this, honestly, 10 out of 10. I enjoyed this book so much. And
it was really good. It has redeemed blue-green books in the fantasy genre.
If any of you, the cover is absolutely beautiful, and if any of you enjoy some good art, you should check out the artist. Name is Simon Prades, I don't know, Prades, has an Instagram account, posts the art there, and there's like pencil sketches or pencil originals of the art that then in turn gets digitalized. And that's just insanely beautiful art. So if you are an enjoyer of a pretty cover and of pretty art in general, check that person out. Yeah.
I had to laugh because his name was also Simon or Simon. It was
like
really funny.
The Simons are.
Did they pick him on purpose for that? Is this
the Simon?
Is this Simon collusion? Is this? But then the name of the artist for the map was different, and I was like, okay, it's not. They're not collecting Simons. Never mind.
It's not the Council of Simon, you know. it's different. But yeah,
but no, it's
this from buying the book to, you know, the anticipation of going into it, of not knowing what's going to happen, up to the very end. Stellar experience.
It was so good, man. The writing style is also just very visceral. Like, there are a lot of really good, strong descriptions.
Yeah.
And a lot of them you're like, you know what? This is very unpleasant to imagine, but it's working really well.
Yeah, it's working really well. It's necessary. These were some choice words, but they fit.
There's,
you know.
like, the description of Yoon walking, like, through the corpses of his brothers on, like, the barge and stuff. Yeah. Dude, like, the squish of the blood in the sandals, I was just like, oh, man. Ouch.
The part where they have to go through the like, ransacked village on the river. And they have to push the boat themselves, right? And at first you're like, oh, well, I mean, they're on the boat, they have the sticks. But then, you know, it's described how Kima has to, you know, put his hand into the blood and oily water. And then there's intestines. And then Yoon is, like, nearly puking because it's fucking horrible.
Disgusting. Yeah, it's just, the descriptions are so visceral.
Yeah.
And it's so good. Obviously, in, like, a more conventional, like, third-person narration, you also wouldn't have, like, all the flavor text of all the, you know, background characters who get, like, one line or whatever, but that adds so much to the dimensionality of the world and the interactions between everyone, because it's like, oh, yes, they're not just, you know, cardboard to fill a scene. These people do also have thoughts and emotions about the things that are happening.
I didn't hear you again.
Where did I cut
They're
off?
Not just cardboard.
They're not just cardboard cutouts to populate the scenes. They're like people with emotions and thoughts and, like, experiences that also impact what is happening. And I think that's also, like, obviously throughout the whole book, like, the visual of a tapestry is extremely, like, you know, present, obviously, in the myth, but also in, you know, the character stories or threads, and they all weave together. And obviously, you know, without the whole tapestry existing, like, the past and present wouldn't be meeting, so the spear couldn't, you know, pass through. But it really is just, like, it's a rich tapestry in which every background character matters, and the fact that they also, you know, often participate in bringing down the soldiers and stuff is, like, important.
I thought that was so smart. So in each of these days, as we said in the beginning, something gets offered, right? First day is finest harvest, second day is finest catch, third day is finest weave, and finest weaves. And I was like, oh, yeah, because the moon is, like, you know, the finest weave in the tapestry, and she, you know, gets offered. She gets eaten, she dies. But I was like, oh. And then I was so excited when it was like, we offer our finest weapon. I was like, is he gonna get his spear back? He has to get his spear back. It's the finest weapon. He needs to be... I love that. And then we offer really our finest dance. I was like,
yeah. It's just
so beautifully crafted.
There's also so many, like, things that come back, but also one thing that hit me was, like, when we get to Shan and, like, how her story goes, and then her story ends that she gets poisoned by a cousin via tea, and you remember how Araya was planning to poison the first terror, and you're like, it all comes from a circle.
And there's also honey in it, right? Because Araya was like, I have to put honey in it to, like, mask the taste.
Yeah, it's just,
I was like, ooh, that's
it's
so
just
good.
So good. It really feels like everything was there on purpose and works together so well. Yeah. It's just, so pretty.
This is like truly a book where I feel like nothing, you can't cut anything.
No,
you couldn't possibly.
I mean, you could, but it would be lesser for it, right? Like, there's a lot of things that, like, and also, like, I can imagine that someone who is, you know, has, like, extremely set tastes on, like, oh no, good fantasy literature is, like, third-person perspective, and thinks this is, like, artsy nonsense, but, like, the form adds so much to the contents. Mm-hmm. Like, it really just enriches the story, and I was so glad that the framing device was not just a framing device, but meaningful to the course of the story, because at some point I was like, okay, it cannot just be a framing device, that it's outside of time, and like, obviously, especially after Kima lost the spear, I was like, obviously he's gonna get the one from the audience, right? This is what we're working towards. And I was so happy when that happened, especially because, you know, Taklina was also there and like looked at the spear and was like, looks different than in the story. Strange. It was very funny. She was just like a hater.
Taklina was fun.
No, she was great. She was like, Moon, I fucking hate you. You suck. Your gifts are the worst. And she was right.
I love the no, what was I say? First thing I want to say was, I think you definitely have to like give the writing style a chance in terms of if you're if you're not expecting it, or if you're unused to it, to just let it go, just let it be, just enjoy the way it's written, and you will get a hang of it real quickly. I did, as I always do, browse Goodreads afterwards, and there were a couple of people who were like, this is unreadable. And I wonder whether it's a case of, okay, for them it's just confusing, or whether it's the case of trying to hold on to the third person descriptor and just not letting yourself experience a story that will give you the amount of information you need, you know, with time. Because I feel like that's something a lot of people have problems with. It's like the impatience of it.
Yeah, I will say, I also kind of, how do I say this? People who are on Goodreads and are like, this is too complicated. I didn't understand what was going on. And I've seen enough of those comments on books I've read. Like, recently I read Harrow the Ninth, and a lot of people are like, wow, this is so confusing. I didn't know what was going on. And I'm like, no, it's not confusing at all. It's extremely clear what is happening. Like, it doesn't tell you everything, but it's not a confusing narrative. It's not...
Yeah.
Unless you're extremely not paying attention, it's not very confusing at all. The same way I feel about this. I'm like, I feel like you have to actively be like, I don't know what's going on, and I refuse to try to connect the dots. Because I feel like this is also not that complicated.
It takes a couple of pages of getting used to, and then you're good.
It's like, okay, it's a little bit odd, but it's like, okay, let's see where it's going, and then extremely quickly, it's extremely clear what is happening. So I'm like, I don't know. When people comment these things, I'm always like, I think this is a you problem. I do not respect you, because it's not that complex, quite frankly.
Yeah. And there's a certain openness you have to have, and just go with the flow. Just sit in the theater and just enjoy. Just enjoy.
I feel like, especially I feel like a lot of people are just unwilling to even engage with something if it's a little bit weird, and then they're like, oh, it's too confusing. And I'm like, well, it's not. You can just say, oh, it's not for me. Which I would respect way more. If you're like, I didn't like this was not a style I enjoyed. I would respect that a lot more than, this is too confusing, or this is too, you cannot understand this, it's unreadable. It's like, no, that's a you problem.
It's unreadable for you.
Yeah.
Other people were perfectly able to.
Especially when it's like, this is a mainstream book. Come on. It's not gonna be that avant-garde about anything, because it's obviously put out by a publisher who wants it to sell and is like, okay, this is readable for the vast majority of readers. There are absolutely books that are weird and confusing on purpose and that are more difficult to read, but this is not one of them. It's not trying to be one of those. It's just stylistically unusual.
It's it's just I looked into it. I was happy to see the majority of people obviously going, "Oh my god, this was amazing," but or saying, "Yeah, it was not for me." But there were also quite some who were like, "I couldn't understand."
Yeah, I think every time I see bad Goodreads reviews now, I just think of that Night Circus review of someone who was like, "I hate lavish descriptions. I hate circuses." And I was like, "Why are you here?"
It's so literally funny. Like, what are you doing here? I
knew
tried
I
to
wouldn't
love
like
this
it,
book, but I hated everything about it beforehand. It's like,
what are you doing, man?
You knew you didn't like this. Why are you here?
Oh, no, these things are so funny. Oh.
But yeah, I appreciated the as like graphic it was in some spaces and as needed that was for the tone. I also really appreciated like the moments that were like explicitly beautiful. You know, like the part on the water. Like sometimes when Kima just looks at the countryside or at Yoon and he's like, "Oh, you know, that's a beautiful view right there." I really appreciated that because otherwise it gets easy for books to be very dark or very bleak in that way where you're like, oh well, you know, really sucks to be here. It gave you just a little inkling of hope, you know, where you're like,
it was like, even in the bad, there is good, you know, even...
It's the yin and yang of it, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, it explicitly tells you, this is a terrible time because the emperor sucks. Everyone's having the... I mean, it starts out with, there's a bunch of corpses on the roadside because they, you know, either were killed or just didn't have enough water. People die all the time.
It's a dried out country.
It's terrible.
Has been no rain for centuries. Yeah.
But that makes all the moments where actually nice things happen and things are beautiful so much, like, better. And it's also, the book doesn't revel in the terrible things. It's like, no, these things are important, sure, to what happens, but it's not like, oh, look how grim dark this is. Yeah. Look at all the atrocities. It's like, no, terrible things have happened here.
It's not like violence porn, you know?
Yeah, and especially, it also, like, it, you know, touches on a lot of other terrible things that are going on, but it's not voyeuristic about it. Like, Kima's imprisoned on that, you know,
the
pleasure ship or whatever it is. Yeah. And we do get, from some characters, like, in the typical, you know, monologue to the audience, we have some very clear ideas what's going on there. Like, of course, we do. But there is no graphic rape scene to be like, oh, look, this is what happens here. And it's like, we knew this. We knew it was happening, but we don't need to be like, oh, look how terrible it is. You know?
The description are very only what's necessary. One part I loved was when Kima tells Yoon why or how he lost his arm. And the celestial body is like, and this is not relevant to the story, so I'm not telling you. You already get to see a lot of stuff from Kima and from Yoon. This is not something that needs to, like, you don't need to concern yourself with that. You know, maybe it happened this way, maybe it happened that way. And it's like, all the parts of the story is like, as you said, only the things that, you know, feel like necessary to be described get described. I was like, but I do want to know. But at the same time, I was like, okay, Kima, you get that bit of privacy.
I do think it's like weird pick and choosiness about what personal secrets are divulged to the audience. Because I'm like, I'm sure there are things June wouldn't have wanted the audience to know, you know?
The little baby. So. Honestly, it's like this meme with like this mom that holds up a baby, and on the other side the baby is drowning, and it's like the celestial body with Kima holding Kima up, and then he used the baby that's drowning.
this is also why it feels more like Kima is the main character.
Yeah.
And Jin is more of a supporting character. But yeah.
So, I would say that Kima is the main character. Because a lot of the story we follow his, like, perspective, I guess, or his level of knowledge. Like, we find out things with him. Other people already know things or how they're working out, and we get to introduce to the world through this guy.
Yeah, but I also think you could argue that, like, Yuna's a deuteragonist at least. Like, I think you could also argue that they're both main characters.
Yeah.
I think you could argue either way. It's obviously also, like, an ensemble cast because we also spent a lot of time with the Red Peacock compared to other characters, for example.
Red Peacock, the moon.
Yeah, I mean, the moon, of course, has her own, like, you know,
Some
narration
little,
part.
Some little time with the defect we spend.
Yeah.
Shan towards the end. We have quite a couple of scenes with her. But yeah, I wouldn't say that he's the sole main character. It's just it feels like,
but he does feel like the most important in the narrative, where it's like this is where the narrative is like, this is your guy, keep him safe, you know what to do.
I didn't keep him safe, but he kept me entertained, so having a good time.
I do think it's extremely nice to have a disabled main character for whom this is mostly, like, it is relevant, especially in interaction with other people, but it's not otherwise, like, a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, in the way that it's like, I have read narratives where they were very concerned with reminding you how inclusive they were being, where it's like, here it's just like, no, he just is a guy who has only one arm. That's just, like, that affects his life, and it's mentioned where it's relevant, but it's not, you know... There's a lot of other things about him that get mentioned way more.
It's not what we're focusing on.
Yeah. Like, obviously it's important to his character, and it informs how he moves through the world, but it's, you know... And I thought it was, like, really well done. It was really nice, and I also really... appreciated that it was... I appreciate when authors make the effort to have unique world building in respects to, you know, things like disabilities and, like, different disabilities, and also, like, obviously, like, sexual orientations and, you know, gender and whatever, because I do think if you're building a secondary world, obviously these people wouldn't have modern conceptions of these things. Yeah. So I really, really appreciated that. I thought that was really nice.
No, I agree. The whole setup of everything. And also because a lot of times I think especially towards the end, when, like, the wave comes and the people are kind of going crazy, understandably, because they see all the water, you sometimes have, like, whole paragraphs that's just, like, snippets of all these kinds of peoples and their thoughts. And there's also a lot of about love and, like, you know, just, you don't need to know the gender of these POVs, because that's not what it's about, you know. It's just the love that's important. The fucking in the field and not caring that other people see. I giggled at that one. I was like, oh, well.
Yeah, they were like, we're dying. Who cares? And then when the wave was gone, is gone. They're like, ah. Well, it was a good time while it lasted.
In my mind, I was like, well, obviously they're gonna stop the wave, right? So, actually, you will have to deal with the consequences of getting naked in the field and fucking in front of your coworkers. I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, you can still blame it on the wave.
Which I think people would be forgiving of, because, like, there's a lot of things happening.
It's just still, you know, it's a thing you can't unsee.
Yeah. No, another thing that I really appreciated was, like, not only is it hopeful, but it's also very deliberate about, if you go through the effort to save people, it can change, like, their entire life. Like, the fact that at the end we revisit like the child with the scar on his
The
lip.
cleft, yeah.
That, like, at the beginning, that, like, he tried to save so hard, and it's like, dude, it, like, sometimes, you know, sometimes it is enough.
The child is still there, and it made it, you know, and it's yeah.
No, it was, that was nice. That's why it's such a pleasant book, because it's like, yeah, horrible things happen, but good things also happen, and they also mean something.
I loved the setup in the before chapter where the narrator is like, oh wait, I remember this story. My dad told this to me like a bazillion times, but he made very sure to be like, but this is not a love story, and like focus on the battles and the heroics of everything. And then the Lola is like, no, don't believe him. Like, a story is multifaceted, but above all, this is a love story. And I was like, I'm strapped in. I'm locked down. I'm sad. Cause you know, guys, I'm a romantic. So I was like,
I also I thought it was funny to be like, did the dad like kin Kima or whatever, and was like, this is not gay. This is not gay. Wanting to be a cool warrior is not gay.
Well, I mean, you know, it's something that's being brought up already to Sean at the end, where people are like, I love that where people that saw the duel were like, you know, expanding on the duel and the story
they were like,
itself.
well, this wasn't cool enough. We need to make it cooler.
It was like, they were done after 2 minutes, but that's lame, right? So imagine like an exaggeration of the story that the dad then tells, and he's like, no, these two warriors. Yeah. And this is not about love. It's not about love between these two men. It's not about love of sons to their mother. It's not about the love of a goddess lost to her water bow, you know. It's it's not about the love of a daughter for her father who she tries to set from prison. No, this is like, it feels a little bit like these kind of people who are like weirdly into war, and it's like, you're not, and who call themselves a history geek, but they're not really a history geek. They just really get off on the fact that
they just like battles.
Died. Yeah. So that's what it felt with the father, who had very selective hearing when it came to these stories. So no, it's just, it was very beautiful, and I can only recommend.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you stayed this far, you better have read the book.
Oh yeah, you better.
If
have
you
read
were
the
here
book.
And you didn't heed our warning, shame on you. You should have read it. It's really good. Especially without knowing what's going to happen.
Without spoilers, you know, you too could have been sitting there sobbing and then getting surprised by a sex scene. But now you can't anymore because you watched this video before you
won't
read
even be surprised by the random monster deck. You cannot...
It was, the typesetting was done in a way that it's like the last page, I think, the last sentence on the page, or like the second to last. So it's like, you know, you make sure to be aware, where, you know, the last sentence ends, so you can connect it to the next page. It's so funny. Even the organ between his legs, which was fully erect like a stone hammer. Look at me. The look at me is literally the last thing that you see on the page. That's like down here. Yeah. It's ingrained in my brain. I feel like I looked at... I'm not going to finish that sentence. But you know what I mean.
I just remember reading this and being like, oh, I know a group of people who'd be really into this.
For a short moment, I was like, is Kima gonna take one for the team?
Honestly, slay.
Is this gonna be a reverse situation where this time Yoon beheads someone? You know, like. But then that didn't happen.
I also just love the descriptor, like a stone hammer. I'm like, okay, that's what is the situation here?
I mean, we've heard velvet wrapped steel. We have a stone hammer. Come at us with the.
But I was
weapon
more
and-
like, okay, but like the shape of the hammer is not quite exactly.
I just thought it was about the might and girth.
Yeah.
It was
No,
not
I know.
about the specific shape. Maybe it's also
I know
like
it was
these-
like metaphorical, but I was just like, for a second, I was like, okay, but what if though?
Maybe they mean these hammers that they use in like smithies and stuff, where it's like you pull on a rope and there's like this huge stone that just then falls down.
Sure.
Sure.
Could be anything.
There's another
We
rope
just
that
don't
can
know.
be pulled.
We should message Simon and be like, hey, I've got some questions.
Simon,
For-
we loved your book.
I'm working on extremely accurate fan art, and I'd like your input.
Stop! What if Simon ever sees this?
Why would he see this?
I don't know, because we're funny. Now, after listening to us blab for like 3 hours, he's lost all respect.
You mean you lost his respect? Because
You were the one with the hammer. I was happy living in metaphor world. You come out and are like drawing diagrams.
I was just asking questions.
Like the investigative journalist you are. The things
We
that
can't
move the
leave
world.
any stone hammer unturned for this. Oh. Anyway.
5 out of 5 stars from me.
Oh yeah, from me too. Extremely good. Very well done, very interesting. Again, I'm blown away because I don't think I ever read the summary, and I just vaguely knew it was supposed to be good, and I was like, wow,
You
this is like
didn't
super
even
interesting.
read the-
I'm having such a blast.
You didn't even read the blurb.
No.
You just saw me standing there at the booth at the convention and being, oh, this sounds nice, and you go,
No,
yeah.
I mean, I also remembered that someone had rated it highly, and you were like, yeah, it sounds good, and I was like, well, that's
Yeah.
great. Maybe I
Yeah.
read it back then, but I didn't remember anything. I was just like, oh, I
Yeah.
have no idea where we're going with this. I'm curious.
Really gotta hammer that down. It was good.
Really gotta hit the mark here.
Yeah, you gotta cut through that. Yeah, one thing that was funny that you wrote me that we didn't mention at all was that you saw that it's a British imprint.
Yeah.
So in your head you started calling it the spa cut through all that.
What? Yeah.
This is how
So,
this is
We
how
couldn't
spell the
leave this
video.
bad joke out of this review.
No, I'm gonna keep that in. I love it. Thank you so
Back
much.
to what?
The wall.
What? Anyway.
The first terror. Okay, stop. Thank you so much.
You don't
for
want to do
listening.
more bad British accents? Anyway, this was
You're
very
dying.
insightful and deep.
Oh, you're not dying. Your picture just froze while we were dying. I know you're back. Okay, I thought you were.
Okay.
Anyways, okay. Thank you so
Definitely one of our finest reviews to date. I think this was extremely informative and not at all got off topic at any point.
much. Well, we didn't start talking about Civica thirst edits towards the end, so I think we're
Well,
good.
we can now.
We can now. No, I mean, I already said in the beginning we might be a little bit giggly, and that's exactly what happened. We were having a good time
Oh,
with the
it's so
book,
good.
with the video. So thank you so much for listening. And yeah, we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye bye.